what
Action?
I don't know why they did what they did. Howdy, we're live now.
I'm worried
I've
for
demuted
Albaz
the
because
mics.
it's like I worry for Albaz, but I feel like our conversation was relevant for the stream, but we can get back into it later.
Well, yeah. Well, I assume we're refreshed, and I don't know if eventually other people will join us. It's time for Yu-Gi-Oh news. I need like an insert for that. Hi, we're here. We're gonna talk to you about.
I'm forgetting his name, but the boy possessed by the devil from Part 5.
But I'm here to talk to you about Yu-Gi-Oh stuff. I guess we'll go in reverse order because Axe and I were already talking about the Sky Striker short. And like I said, I may have to repeat myself if like Lothar Vesper pop in a little late to the moment. But yeah, so first of all, most recent news, chat. We'll tackle it first. The first Yu-Gi-Oh card game animation chronicle, I think is what they're calling it. That's what the thumbnail I think says anyway. But their first animated short came out. It's one of the Sky Striker ones. Allegedly, there's supposed to be two. Though there may not be two because, for reasons I will elucidate shortly, chat, I think that they whatchamacallit, they may have already used it. Like, they may have already used the short and chopped it up and put it into Master Duel. But yeah, so the short came out, and here's the thing. It's 4 minutes.
It's like the climactic ending of a thing, but it's not long enough to have an actual impression, I feel.
Yeah, so it's got action. Like,
I know there's 4-minute things that like have impressions, but it's like this one doesn't feel
yeah,
good.
I mean, I saw, like I said, I started a conversation about this in a couple of places, and some people were like, oh, Hetalia started as 5-minute shorts with an opening and ending, and that still had like a narrative arc. This just doesn't have a structure. So, even in the comments of the video, like, I saw people talking in English being like, okay, cool, but I wish it was long. Like, even people who liked it wish there was more to it. And I know quite a lot of people who were just like, that's it? That's what you tried to get us all hype about? With 4 minutes? So yeah, I have watched it. And like I said to Axe, he asked me how was it? I was like, well, it's not bad, but I don't know if it's good. Because, like, it's obviously well made. But it... Chat, on the podcast and on the things we do, we talk about media a lot. I talk about media a lot. Media usually has like certain structure and flow, and I feel like the Sky Striker short bobbles it in a couple of key places because they basically left all the boring exposition stuff to Master Duel, but that also means there's basically no explanation for what's going on. Like, it just kind of starts with
like
Zeke rampaging through a desert and Ray shows up.
It feels like a multimedia thing that isn't integrated properly.
Yeah, basically. Like, they obviously have the budget and the commitment to do something, but the bit that we got is, like, not complete, and that means I don't know what its purpose is. Is the purpose to try and get people who don't know about Yu-Gi-Oh! Interested in Yu-Gi-Oh! Via Sky Striker? The short is probably not good at that. I can't say for sure, but, like, it looks cool, but I don't know if it does enough to make you go, oh, that was cool, I want to know more about these things, and not just go, well, that looked cool but was confusing. The second thing is just like I said, if you don't know about Sky Striker lore, where would you go to learn? Oh, well, download Master Duel, but it doesn't, like, forward you into that. That's all the upfront stuff. And I mentioned before, Sky Striker is a fan-favorite deck. It's been popular since TOS, so for, like, 7 or 8 years. So...
It also, besides its visuals and it being favorite, it doesn't actually have much of a plot besides, like, 2-3 fights in it, and then some characters having visuals to them, which means the animation should actually expand upon that, or just be an ad for the manga which is being produced, which actually is why there's a bunch of like 6 extra cards of Sky Striker that are like
and the manga's done. Like they stopped the series, so it's probably serialized at this point. Like they've got a collection.
You could sell as a volume.
If they don't get a collection you can buy, you should advertise that in the short. Hey, you want to know what the fuck's going on? I mean, there is a through line of scenes. Like I said, it's got the start where it starts in the battle in the setup. There's a little bit of flashing back, and there's the big conclusion to the fight. some of which looks good, some of which is a little simplified because they've only got 4 minutes. So, like, it is top to bottom Sky Striker, but, like, the main thrust seems to be that Rey shouts "engage" out loud and transforms, and it's like, cool. Some people I have seen on Twitter defending it by going like, oh, you know, they said promotional short, like, what are you expecting? It's only 4 minutes. And I'm like, I get where you're coming from. My personal take is I didn't really expect anything. Like, I had no expectations. I did not know what Konami was going to do with this project. I'm still disappointed because I still don't know what they're doing with this project. This short did not teach me what the purpose of this is. And okay, cool. It's a promotional short. It doesn't have to be 4 minutes. This is a thing we've talked about on Field Portrayal before, right? Konami funds, or I should say funded, Rush and Go Rush. They you know, produced those series under the Yu-Gi-Oh label, which they control. Those animes are long. Like, they are almost unheard of long in this day and age. You know, we're talking about, like, triple-digit episodes. Yes, I understand Konami Animation is a brand new studio, right? They've been founded to do, like, specific projects, but, like, you guys don't have enough budget and connection in the industry to swing a video that can't even make mid-roll? Like, you could do so much better than this.
I don't know, like, were they, like, I assume they just didn't have anything done by the time... Unless they only started.
But I don't think there was a time, right? Like, they said it's all going to be basically ONA, basically original net animation, right? They're releasing them when they're releasing them. So there may be something to be, like, releasing one in the case of, like, a specific fiscal quarter?
They didn't set a date, so, like, they could have just waited till there was more.
Yeah, I don't know. And the main thing, like, I think most people are...
more of an actual narrative that you could cover.
That's the thing that, like, people are concerned about. Like, if they just do this as, like, a 4-minute short where, like, Albaz falls out of the sky as a giant dragon, Ecclesia hits him on the head, and he turns into a boy, and then it hard cuts, it's like, that doesn't mean anything. That's just, you animated, like, 3 card arts together.
That also should be, like, the opening OP if it was, like, an actual show.
Yeah.
Also if I guess one way they could handle it was they literally could just do the animation as a way to do, like, the in-between moments, or even do stuff that wasn't, like, covered, or do the stuff that's actually, like, because the story ended, but it ended, like, in a way a season 1 of a long series ends.
Yeah.
So there's a bunch of plot threads that keep going. So they could have just made the animation. They could make the animation about future stuff.
There's a lot of stuff they could cover, and the main thing about the Sky Striker thing is that this leaves me concerned that they won't. Because, like, chat, I'm going to agree with you. I'm not super concerned about Sky Striker. They already have a manga. I think most people understand the plot pretty well from, like, the valuable books and stuff. And I know plenty of people who, as I mentioned, this is a fan favorite deck that's been alive for, like, 8 years. I also know loads of people who are tired of seeing Sky Striker. They would be happy to never see another Sky Striker card enter the EMZ ever again. That won't happen because, like I said, my personal theory is either that the Japanese fan base is more fond of Sky Striker just because it is more clearly otaku culture coded. Interpret that however you want, chat. Or somebody at Konami HQ, like, the guy who, like, wrote the Sky Striker story, like, still works at Konami, like, he wasn't a contractor, so they keep bringing it up because, like, that person still works there and likes them. But
also,
I mentioned...
It's legitimately just Yu-Gi-Oh's Nanaha.
Yeah.
I compare it to that because it's, like, Nanaha is a staple point of a design idea.
Yeah, no, it's very, like... I mean, I should say it is iconic, but no, the structure of Nanaha is kind of, like... A distinct subgenre, I think, that people can point to. I would say that, like, Sky Striker goes a little bit further than Nanoha because it actually has, like, fully built, like, robot suits and stuff as well. We're not just, you know, tacking on the little mecha bits to magical girls. So it's getting a little more towards, like, a Strike Witches zone. But that's kind of where the aesthetics are unique and possibly trademarkable. Spoilers for the future conversation. Also, like I said, I'm sorry if you experience buffering, chat. I think that's on YouTube's end. The connection seems okay, but YouTube is showing me a big yellow light. Sorry. Immediately before starting stream, my chest has become slightly congested. But no, what I was saying before is that Sky Striker, it's a deck that people play a lot. There's some big fans. And I don't know what the purpose of the promotional is, because they're not promoting new card product, because they don't have it. There's like one new card in the next set to promo the animated short coming out, which also, by the way, means they're going to print one more Albaz card probably. I don't know exactly what format that'll take, but we'll see. But like, it's not like there's a big new wave of Sky Striker. That already happened. I think you mentioned that earlier when we were on stream. That they already did that for the manga, right? So like,
yeah, that's for like some of the cards that came out of that. Yeah,
I think like 2 out of 8 cards were good. Mostly the links I think were good. I don't know how useful the monsters were.
The evil engage girls, yeah, or I guess the other 2 besides Ray.
Azalea and Camellia I think were good, and then there's going to be a second form Azalea, or was it a second form Camellia? I don't remember. Anyway, they had a couple of stuff, but it's a case of like, if they want Sky Striker cards to sell, they just print more Sky Striker decks. And I don't think that the short will get people who don't play Sky Striker to play Sky Striker. And it's not, I don't think it's like a promo to go buy the cosmetics in Master Duel, because that already happened. Like, I think that bundle is either expired or is close to expiring, Like, the time for the promo is past. So it's just, it's 4 minutes, so it's not like it's a huge loss of your day to go watch it right now. But I also, like, just don't know what the purpose is. Like, I'm confused about why it is. And so, I guess we'll see, what the future holds. Because, like I said, I'm concerned about Albaz, because that should be bigger. That has actually like deeper lore. Again, no offense to Sky Striker. Actually, no, some offense to Sky Striker. It's a super boilerplate story. There's vaguely fascistic robot drones killing the last bastions of humanity, who may or may not be powered by computers that are people brains. I don't know. I'm always suspicious of these kinds of things. They're sending like a 15-year-old girl to fight with a nanomachine katana. Clearly something has gone wrong in their society. But it's pretty simple. You can explain it like super quick. And it doesn't have to be complex, because it's about, robot guns and stuff. And smashing a bunch of drones. So, like, it doesn't have to be in-depth. Albaz is so complicated, people were building, like, fucking flowcharts to keep track of where and when all the card art was happening. Like, before the valuable book and stuff came out, and kind of, like, laid out what the exact order is. So, like, if you want to do that correctly, you're going to need a little more connective tissue. Also, there are larger action scenes and set pieces in Albaz. There is, like, important stuff that happens. So, I don't know, man. We'll see. So, that means the other thing we got to talk about. Chat, I hope you're ready. I hope you're ready to behold. Can I, like... Oh, it's small. Sorry, I'm trying to get the right image for this. Here we go. A long-time Yu-Gi-Oh! Mystery has been solved. It's a fucking postage stamp. How dare you?
It's... Where would I put it? It's like, it's as kind of how you expect it, but not as grandiose as you think it would be.
I mean, yeah, so the result is it's basically what people thought it was, in that it's a legal issue, but...
It's just weird on, like, how it worked out on both ends of the situation.
Yeah. Here you go. Okay, this is a properly sized image. All right, so let's talk about Air Neos. Sorry, I somehow acquired the postage stamp version of this image. So, late last week, out of literally nowhere, some guys in a Yu-Gi-Oh! Facebook group dug up court documents related to a filing that named Konami, Kazuki Takahashi, the studio behind GX, etc., that was specifically about Elemental Hero Air Neos, as you can see on your screen at this time. The suit involved this character by Beyond Comics and their holdings, created by Greg Wyke. It's probably Greg, but I don't know if he chooses to spell his name that way. But a character of Ravidactyl. And at first glance, these things are... there's some points of commonality, but some differences. Ravidactyl has way more abs than Air Neos does, that's for sure. But the point of this suit came up because Beyond Comics and Mr. Wyke worked with Konami. And in fact, I think technically, if I remember from MBT's summary video, he actually trolled the court documents in depth. I think Konami had like video game rights to some of these things. Because, like, there was going to be, like, movie and stuff. And allegedly, Wyke says that they shot a movie or shot a film test or something. He's changed his story a couple of times. Now, I want to preface this story about a court case by reminding everybody that I am not a lawyer, and my degree is in criminal justice, not civil justice. We did take some civil court classes to understand the framework. But I'm fairly certain that at no point could an actual lawyer ever construe anything I'm saying to you as legal advice or anything resembling a contract. It's just not possible. But court case goes out, names a couple of names basically every possible person who could be involved at Konami and Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, including Kazuki Takahashi. Has, court filings and stuff. Went through, they were planning to set a date for discovery. Things were settled out of court, presumably with an NDA involved. Now, I will say this one, blew up fast and then kind of moved on because, as always, it's been a busy fucking week and lots of stuff has been happening. But, the long and short of it is Beyond Comics and Wyke think that Konami infringed their IP. They settled out of court. And
it's very close. It's really close, actually.
I mean, it's the kind of thing where I think there's an argument, but also there's the funny thing is that they decided to settle it out of court because I think if they went to a jury trial, there's arguments to be made. Ravidactyl has pterosaur wings, and Air Neos has Neos' wings, but they are also not that distant from each other.
I think it's more of just it's legally distinct, but I don't think it's distinct enough where if you put, I feel like the argument could be made would be if you put these both as images on a store, people would think they're the same thing, just different artists.
It is possible there is an argument about them being confused, yes. And Konami's lawyers fired off every form of defense possible, both denying all the claims and also every kind of affirmative defense being okay, well, first of all, we didn't steal him. And second of all, even if we did quote-unquote steal him, here's all the ways that doesn't, hold any legal water. Which, of course, they have to do because the suit was named for, $35 million or something in damages or an even bigger, more inflated number because intellectual property law is stupid. And also, once you've said how much you think your damages are worth, it's very hard to get that number adjusted up in court. It usually only goes down. Even so, it's the kind of thing where, there's a reason why the common sense public thinks these things are dumb and bad. Because, obviously, most people would say that they don't think that Mr. Wyke's IP has been devalued 30-something million dollars. First of all, because Air Neos is not so fucking important to Yu-Gi-Oh! That he's generating a significant slice of Konami's revenue in, the year 2009. But yeah, this one, like, obviously I think it's close enough, and as like I said, MBT brought up that this guy was technically working with Konami on stuff, like there were licenses with the Beyond Comics company involved, the limited corporation. So, like, I think they had some room to stand here. I actually think that Rada, Rank 10 Yu-Gi-Oh! Had probably the best take about this situation, because obviously the moment this broke out, well, the lawsuit named the now deceased Kazuki Takahashi as one of the, accused, which obviously is not going to go over well with the Yu-Gi-Oh! Audience. But also, I think we can prove even from the initial filing that it's didn't actually connect it to Takahashi at all. He did say in a couple of interviews that coming up with, his 500th normal monster with flavor text is hard, but I believe in their filing, Konami did straight up say that Takahashi was not responsible for Air Neos. It was a director at the GX Anime who character designed Air Neos. But people immediately started to dig into this, and, like, Beyond Comics and Wyke are kind of oddball. He has some interesting videos on his YouTube channel and some other stuff going on. And, like, he's even responded to this. Like, he's done some outreach and posted a video about it and talked about, like, his side, etc. I still think that, like, what Rada said was that two things can be true. This is the thing I know that we actually talked about X the other week about something. Two things can be true. Konami can be a billion-dollar company with scumbag ideals, and also this guy can be a little weird. This guy can be a little bit of a freak.
As I will say this, as I obtained this from an old-timey podcast, a history podcast. They were like, a thing that basically came up is like, listen, two things don't have to be one or the other. They can both be true, even if they seem opposed to each other, like ethos-wise. Like for example, the guy that made Mount Rushmore might have had like this guy that had this really big idea of a design, but he also could have been a racist bigot that insulted a bunch of native lands. Both
put some faces on a secret mountain. Yes.
Yeah, both can be true.
Yeah. So like, because like he said in like, or some representative of him said in DMs, and he said in his video and stuff like, oh, I never told Konami they can't reprint Air Neos. That's not my fault. ... They didn't want to reach a licensing agreement, etc. Which means that I'm not exactly sure, obviously, because it's like whatchamacallit? It was out of court, so they're not legally bound to admit it. And honestly, like, Ruxin literally to their face asked about an Air Neos reprint, and they said they can't talk about that at this time. So like, Konami is clearly under an NDA that they don't want to yap about. I want to bring up another factor about Konami's side of this that MBT Joseph brought up, who is not a lawyer but is in law school, so he's got a little bit of better grasp of some of the technical language here. But he mentioned that this was in the suit. Upper Deck Entertainment was still named because Konami and Upper Deck had not yet split. This happened like 6 to 12 months before Konami themselves sued Upper Deck over their malfeasance in their own business printing the TCG over here. A story that probably could use some more history about, but the basic idea is that Upper Deck were super scummy to Konami and were literally like selling bootlegs of the cards. Like they were taking master sheets and like ripping off Konami's product and then claiming it was all fakes so that they got the revenue and Konami did not. They split acrimoniously in court. So it may be that Konami did not want to sit in a legal battle against an opposing force that may have technically turned into a three-way battle because they were no longer in cooperation with Upper Deck. But obviously it seems like they are bound by some amount of non-disclosure. But like I said, I will take a reading talking about how, like, yeah, this Ravedactyl guy is probably Wyke's baby, and, like, they are reasonably close, chat. But sorry, I just had a moment of terror where I'm like, I unmuted the microphones, right? Yes, we have been unmuted for the past 20 minutes. None of you have said anything in chat, so I'm worried. Where nobody's even commenting about Air Neos. It's been since Ark said something about the short like 10 minutes ago. But like I said, yes, I think that Ravedactyl is this guy's baby, and like he had legitimate concerns that Konami may have screwed him over. But it sounds like his result of the deal was that maybe not for like previous appearances, because there are like different legal regards where like copyright and IP extends to different mediums. So like maybe in the anime they can show Air Neos without a problem, because they did do that HD re-release of GX recently, and I assume that Air Neos is still in that chat. I'm pretty sure he is. But like brand new card arts of Air Neos may have to go through him, and like obviously Konami is not gonna do that. And yes, Air Neos has been in some simulators like Legacy of the Duelist since then, but he is conspicuously absent from both Duel Links and Master Duel. Obviously, his card art is edited out of stuff like Wake Up Your Elemental Hero and Generation Next and so on. And when Rush Duels was printing Neos cards, like they added Elemental Heroes, they replaced Air Neos entirely with Sky Neos. They added a new guy, who I would guess we desperately need back in the TCG. So, like, and there were a couple reprints of the original Air Neos that happened after this comment. But like I said, it sounds to me like it's not so much that there's a rule in the out-of-court settlement that Konami can't reprint Air Neos, but that some amount of their printing of Air Neos is bound up in the results of this lawsuit. Thank you, Starlight. So, if I was Konami, I would not, because other than the meme about him not being reprinted, Air Neos is a nothing card. He's not like a very good Neos fusion. Air Hummingbird's not like a really good Neos monster or a Neos patient.
It's only really annoying to me because I think in solo modes they want you to summon Air Neos.
There's other ways to work it, but like I said, the main problem is that it's just a mystery, and like it is a card in the secondary market that is super expensive. It is played in some retro formats. So, like, there is a cost there that obviously a retrain would not fix, but it's not really important, so Konami's like, it doesn't fucking matter. We'll keep to our NDA and we won't talk about it. This does kind of, like, soft confirm that, like, people did the number crunching, and, like, it seems like that when we voted on a QCR, Air Neos did win, but Konami was just like, well, we can't do that. So they picked the runner-up for the poll result, but it is still a very interesting like thing that happened. And like I said, some people like really went after like Wyke and started digging him up. And like I said, I'm pretty sure this is because one, either people were like, "Why is this guy stopping us from getting Air Neos?" And the other was, like I said, the lawsuit specifically called out Kazuka Takehashi, who obviously, even if he had something to say about it, is no longer available for us to question, being deceased, tragically. So, people really got on him, and like I said, that's probably not fair to this guy, who's just some guy. But, I also don't... People always make that meme about, yes, defending the billion-dollar company. Like I said, that doesn't mean that every little guy is right, either. Like, there's a whole process behind this, and stuff is very simple. Also, people are like, the mystery of Shuttleroid. That's very easy. Guys, NASA's a copyright. Why do you think fake NASA exists in, like, movies and TV? Like, they have government protection about, like, their logo and look. So it is, like, entirely possible that they may need to be like asked permission, or like could be money involved. Yeah.
I have a personal experience with this actually. So, have I ever told you the story of why the SMT3 tabletop book has been delayed till like May?
Oh no, we have not heard this.
Okay, let me so basically, originally it was supposed to come out, I think November of last year. The PDFs came out by then. So, how this physically works is, this book was designed by a guy who made a few other different tabletop games back in like the early aughts, and I think he's still making games now. But the company he made it under went under in like 2007. So, the copyright is in the weird phantom zone.
Oh, it's in the zone where the previous holders are
Atlas has
exploded.
rights to it. This guy has rights to it, but the thing that actually held the license together is no longer exist. So, to what I've been explained to by people at Lion Wing Publishing, because they're the ones in charge of making the book, and they try really hard. And I like the games they bring over. They brought over Good Victor Drive and Picturesque Robin, and I think a few other things like, for sheer example, people who know about these. Let's see, Kedamono Opera, Eldritch Escape, Fledgewitch, Wild Hunt Festival, Midnight Saga, Embryo Machine, Gun and Gun. They produce all those things like that too. So they've done quite a few things. So in most of those cases, usually the publishing that usually doesn't take that long, but it's also only I think it's only like a 7-person team. So like for a whole thing, and they have like multiple products they like are in charge of. So
yeah,
I'm not giving them a hard time about it. I'm more just annoyed that it's such a headache for them to get it. I don't ask. I just see people talk about it, but like you understand where we're going with this.
Yeah.
Basically, the person that has the rights has there, but also means he has to go ask Atlas. And I wouldn't say Atlas is the most litigious company because that's Wizards.
Yeah, I don't. To my knowledge, Atlas has never set the Pinkertons.
I also say this: a person I don't agree with, but I will not say their name here, but they call D&D. They refuse to call D&D, so they just call it the world's most litigious role-playing game.
Maybe not like literally right now, but that's Wizards and the Dungeons and Dragons brand has definitely been that guy in the past.
And regardless, because the point I'm going with this is that when it comes to crossing overseas, copyright is a fucking mess if you don't have a consistent way to ask the person in charge of it as a singular source. If you don't even, and that's even if you don't even agree, and that's if you even have a license agreement set up.
Yeah, it's because the like filing of the copyright is not reciprocal. What is a trademark or a copyright in America does not automatically mean you are trademarked or copyrighted in Japan.
I think
or
I
Europe
will say
or
this. I think the situation of Air Neos here is way more, I think, hostile, but it's complicated. The one with the Tokyo Conception Nocturne RPG is way more just complicated and less hostile. It's more just.
Well, yeah, the Air Neos is pretty simple because the guy who believes that Air Neos infringed on his copyright and apparently got Konami to express some kind of culpability in and they settled out of court, which means there was some kind of compromise about it. Yes, and now Konami won't talk about Air Neos.
They just walk around it. They chose to walk around it and never acknowledge it.
Like they did not legally admit fault. They did not legally admit fault.
You just never admit it. You just don't let any of it come up ever.
Well, also, like I said, depending on how things went, they may be under like NDA as well. But no, like I said, the Air Neos thing is very straightforward. This guy, extended that they may have violated his copyright, and as a result, they're just like, well, we won't fuck with that. The thing about, like you said, the RPG involves the nebulous realm of licensing and copyright and publishing agreements, which is already a pain in the ass. If you lose continuity on those licenses, they don't just like magically go somewhere.
It also doesn't help that they're trying to grab the only pre-made campaign for the book that was released in a monthly magazine in Japan.
Oh my god, that's such a pain in the ass.
So like that's an extra because that was supposed to come with the book. Because everyone that pre-ordered the book was supposed to get the White Vortex campaign.
I mean, shout out to them for making all this effort to import games like this. It does kind of feel like the company trying to bring it over may have bit off a little more than they can chew. They maybe didn't realize quite how complex this would be when they started. But if they got a good track record, I can.
To explain this also is also they don't even have licensings for the actual other SMT books that have been made for like 20XX and shit like that, for like SMT2 stuff or SMT like 1 stuff. They've not had that done. Like 20XX. Someone's already like making that themselves, the fan project, which is cool. I didn't look into it, but there's also a Splat book that was supposed to, because here's a fun thing. SMT3 The English version that that is known as Nocturne, or in some versions called Lucifer's Call, with Dante, for the Devil May Cry series, who acts like he's from 3, but has the design of 2. It's funny and weird. Basically, there's a splat book that's supposed to have that and the fiends and the actual bonus stuff and the actual like true demon route and all like the fiends and all the extra stuff for DM stuff for like how you calculate XP for making custom enemies you make, and rewards, and to do skills and just do items and just a bunch of stuff that the Nocturne has their name for are in the book because it's based off the base game and not the expanded stuff that everyone knows it for, because the expanded stuff is a bunch of gut checks. So I've had to make that physically myself, and just also just other homebrew stuff people have been making, because I've been stealing stuff and admitted it openly.
I mean, if they're making a fan project,
copy.
you can't steal those. They don't own it.
It's not copyrighted, yeah. It's just they made it because the system you can make it because everything just has stats and skills and that's how it goes.
And usually RPG homebrewers are share and share alike type guys.
Yeah.
Though obviously in this
I
world,
made my own
there's a lot
homebrew. I
about
would share it if I
anything
felt
being
like it was
monetized.
competently designed.
But yeah, also while Axe was talking about this, I did double check earlier, but we didn't have a good point to talk about it. But yeah, strictly speaking, the NASA logo, and they also say their insignia, appearance, etc., is not technically copyrighted because it is not like a work, but it is a trademark, and also there are federal laws that protect it. So this may be a case where like there is room that maybe Shuttleroid is not violating that protection. It is not violating the trademarks or the federal protections NASA has, but they explicitly have non-commercial rules about these things, which is, like I said, why TV shows can't show actual NASA stuff.
Yeah, because overall, this is a thing of... I just like telling this whole story is relevant to at least describe how, like, copyright
it's very
overall,
complicated.
overseas is extra painful.
Well, yeah, and this is why some people would like, I'm maybe not in our chat, but some people may ask, well, they printed the Shuttleroid card in Japan, right? Yeah, because Japan doesn't have the same trademark system, and they are literally a different federal government. The Japanese government is not the U.S. government, so their laws don't protect NASA there.
Also, I should say this, but like, look at if anyone knows about Japanese doujin markets, listen, Japanese industries are less willing to press copyright charges if it's from inside their own country.
Well, yeah, arguably the doujinshi market, you know, the fanworks market is a little unstable, but it works on a very delicate balance of like, yeah, technically this does violate the letter of our copyright law, but it doesn't violate our spirit, so we don't pursue any of that, because we understand that if they collapsed, they would, depending on the scale of it, they would not make very much money back, and there would be a lot of people they would risk pissing off who are also their core customers anyway. So it's not worth the slap fight. Yeah, JoJo Stand Names is another one of those cases where, like, that I think is, like, I don't know if any of the bands who get their names, like, changed in JoJo, like, actually would litigate. It's just the case of, like, oh, man, the record industry sucks so much ass.
I should explain something. Listen. Our country is mostly defined by people like our founding fathers, who were all actually opportunists at their core. Some had integrity. Most were all opportunists that just wanted to have their own thing. And Thomas Edison is a very defining person of our culture, actually. The king of lawsuits, specifically.
Yeah, Edison, while he was a brilliant scientist in his own way, he was not afraid to beg, borrow, and steal, and then sue everybody afterward. Yeah, a lot of patent law and stuff like that. It's one of those cases where, like, a lot of things, and, like, honestly, the funny thing is, you want to talk about America, right? And you know, the founding fathers and stuff. Yeah, some of them were landowners and businessmen. A lot of them were lawyers.
Yeah, listen,
and like higher academics.
Our entire nation's about litigation. Our entire nation, people don't like to think about this, but our entire nation is actually based off literally machismo, litigation, and capitalism.
There's some finer points there, but it's not for Fail Portrayal. Oh, wow, we can go for like 40 minutes. Is that correct? All right, we should talk about White Forest. I'm shocked nobody else has shown up.
But yeah, I'm just saying, like,
But
that's probably a
get
better
your
way to
last
say
look
it,
at
but I feel like,
Riverdactyl.
yeah, it's not a bad design. I just don't think it's what I think it's okay. It just feels like a
The
it feels like
concept art's okay.
It feels like a McFarlane. It feels like a McFarlane character. I'd say
I do feel that, yeah, it's an odd.
he'd be a
odd
Spawn
one.
spin-off character.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, it's a case where, like, if you got into the specifics, you would be like, well, these are obviously different because Ravidactyl is a pterodactyl and Ernios is a hummingbird, though he is also part alien. But yeah. So let's catch the people up with the lore. When we last left off, the sinful spoils. So
Now we'll flashback.
Diabel Star, the Black Witch, master of of two sinful spoils, so much so that people think she's a demon, acquired a big eyeball that turned into a cute mascot character after defeating an evil dragon. When she returned to her underground city, her comedic nemesis, the Goblin Bikers, stole her cute mascot and rode off into the sunset until her cute mascot Kirby'd their horrible monster and beat them all up. But at the last minute, the White Witch showed up, knocked Diabel Star out, and stole her cute mascot character.
And
I
now
think
I think we're in the.
Yes, technically I think Diabel goes to jail, but while she's there,
I
she
think
has
we're
some
now
flashbacks.
in the dream. I think we're now in the dream and the flashback she has when she's waking up.
Yeah, because we're going to explain all this stuff. So the key things to remember is that in this universe, there are demons. They're very bad. They will trick you and curse you, and if they do, your soul turns into a sinful spoil, a thing that is, like, magical and stuff.
Honestly, think about them as, like, compare them to, like, Bayonetta demons, honestly. But you're not.
Yeah, actually,
but you're not an Umbra
that's
Witch.
We talked about this earlier a little, and I forgot to say something. I'm both surprised and not surprised that nobody in the Yu-Gi-Oh community thought to make this a Bayonetta parallel. MBT was obviously way too caught up in his Wicked parallel, but, like, nobody else, I think, really tried.
This just feels like a Capcom thing. Like, it just feels like a Capcom berry-based story. Just, you know?
Like, but I
or
think that,
Platinum.
like, the comparison of, like, yeah, there's two girls who, like, get along, and there's, like, older witches and younger witches, and, like, there's mystery and magic, and then it gets real serious as, like...
T-Bells is the Virgil of the story.
It's kind of...
Even to the point where she got corrupted by the big bad. Legitimately, like, right there.
I think the funny part is that
she has a Del Angelo form.
I'm pretty sure also that that's funny, though, because I think that LZ is the younger one. But we'll get to compare their arts. So, like I said, we flash back. So everybody behold Astellar of White Forest, Asteria in the OCG. I think they decided to go Astellar just because of just calling her Astella would not be good, but it Stellar, Diabel Star, like, it flows better. But this, in case anybody cannot realize, this is baby Diabel Star. Her hair was always white. She's got giant braids. She doesn't have her cool little omen mask yet, but she does have a giant monocle on that side of her face.
Honestly, I think it's how you kind of compare, I think, Bayonetta to, like, Lucretia, her actual, like, mortal name.
Yeah.
If it's, like, the same kind of context where it's like you have the name of who you are and then the name of the person you were born as.
Yeah. Well, and I assume that Diabel Star is, like, she did an alias, but, like, you can tell they're pretty related. She does have the interesting little illusion eye type thing on her hood, and she's got lots of little accessories. You can tell also it's supposed to be Diabel Star because she has. I have to be careful not to abbreviate the names, for reasons that chat may or may not know yet. But you can tell it's her because she has her distinctive kind of, like, pinkish or magenta magic color. Now, we are going to have to do a little bit of legwork here, chat, because the Valuable Book EX5 is out, but has not been, like, thoroughly translated yet. Like, nobody has done a big dump of everything it covers and translated it so far. If people have snippets and stuff, they can talk about it. But in that book, it reveals that Astellar's magic color is pink. All the different witches of the White Forest, which was just white woods. Well, they used the word mori, which means forest or woods. I personally would have translated that as white woods for the alliteration, like sinful spoils, but White Forest is literal enough to work. But each one of the witches has a special form of magic. Astellar's is called sticking objects together. So you can kind of see that because she's like stuck her little lamp to like that weird thing on her outfit. But also because her magical power is attaching and combining things. This was something we talked about a little, but we showed her concept art before when she's Diabellstar, right? The wolf claw that is the Sinful Spoils Silvera, and the like batwing claw that is Rusiella. And I did double check, it should be Rusiella because it's gonna become Murcielago later, which means bat in Spanish. Those are just fused to her body permanently, even if she takes her clothes off. So that is apparently why she can use the Sinful Spoils without being corrupted herself. She used her magic to just glue them to her body, so they're part of her. This does also mean, yes, that Rusiella is that the Sinful Spoil, which is made out of a person's soul, is conscious and does choose to drape the sheet over her.
It is literally just like a devil arm from like
Yeah.
DMC. They're
I mean,
alive
kind
in
of.
there most of the time.
Yeah, no, yeah, they're still in there. And we'll explain what's going on there. But notes you can tell, like I said, Diabellstar, she still has the white hair. She's got kind of the same thing. She's got her gray eyes. She's wearing like the bright red tights. But the forest is white. But these weird, spooky little apples in here that are bright red and have a weird eyeball on them. Gee, I wonder.
They also look like fucking what was it? Like sin seeds from like Doka?
That one doesn't ring any bell off the top of my head, but
The thing that they say when you kill the witch and you got the weird seed like core thing that ate all your negative energy off your battery.
The main thing I would compare it with that it reminds me of a little bit is, and admittedly this is just because I think it's such a foundational like anime and manga, is it's not exactly, but the shape is a little bit like the Baelit from Berserk.
I wouldn't think it would be like Baelit, honestly, because those are. How to put this? Part of the thing that the Baelit is supposed to not be common, and there's a
well, yeah, but like they have kind of a shape, like I said, that evokes it. They're not exactly the same because the Baelit has like a weird little face on it. These just have the eyeball.
Yes,
but
and then there's also the special ones, the Baelits of the King. But yeah,
it's a thing where like they are kind of firing broadly, but you know we're in the White Woods. Now the deck White Forest. I can actually teach you a little bit about. This is a deck that I've played. I played it both as pure, and then when Azamina came out, I played it as White Forest Azamina. The deck is much better if you play it as White Forest Azamina.
I at least know that, like, White Woods tries to basically combine all the story things together because it's meant to be, like, this is bridges all together as, like, they're all technically the same characters at just different points in their lives.
Oh, well, so, If we get that far, we did Yap for a while, but there's only the two of us, so we may speed through to the kind of like ending bit cards.
I assume you want to go do cosmic stuff after this.
Well, no, because we're gonna stream that tomorrow. No. But I may still log back into 14 to do stuff. I'll see what people are doing. But depending on how fast we move through these, like there's a decent amount in our core is to talk about White Forest and Azamina, but then there's a block of about 10-ish cards I want to say that are kind of like the conclusion to this story arc, and then also, if there's enough time, talking about Morganites. But the White Forest cards are kind of used as a bridge. Oh, they do become relevant. I'll explain that when we get to that card art. It's just it's the kind of thing where people didn't realize how they were connected until Konami printed enough cards to stitch it together. But
I thought it was more of like it's after the whole story, or like years later, or was it meant to be before all of it?
No, it's well, part of it's supposed to be before because the Morganite witch is, she's killed in the prologue. We'll show her later.
Oh, okay.
But also, the Morganites are actually in some of these cards in this lore already, but people didn't realize because only like one or maybe two of them were printed by the time we got to that point.
Gotcha.
So it's kind of that thing where we're catching up now. But I think the reason why White Forest, along with Sinful Spoils, is used as kind of a bridge point is because we technically go back to the White Forest for the climax. So that means that basically we get to loop the old cards and the new cards back together. But the deck, very simply, it's a synchro deck that is based around a pretty simple system. The level 4s are the tuners, and the 2s are usually the non-tuners. Though they have a couple of ways to manipulate this later. And they're about synchro tuners and kind of utilizing this climbing effect. They also have a heavy spell trap effect reliance. And the main way they work is by sending spell traps from hand or field. All of the archetypal spell traps, both of them, have the ability that if they're sent to the graveyard by a monster effect, they reset themselves once per turn. So kind of like a more advanced form of the Witchcrafter deck strategy. But basically, the White Forest gals expend magic but get it back, so it's part of a whole curve. It all kinds of it builds a fairly tight resource loop. So, Astellar here is one of our non-tuners. She is a level 2 light spellcaster, 0/0. There's a lot of low attack stats in this, but, she's a kid, so it makes sense. Her effect is pretty straightforward. You can send a spell trap from your hand or field to the graveyard, special summon a light spellcaster tuner from your deck, which obviously gets your archetype tuners, but also in some brews, you could run, certain forms of, Ecclesia or Cartesia in here for just, other weird access. If a spell trap is sent to your graveyard to activate a monster's effect while this card's in your graveyard, except during the damage step, special summon it. You can only use each effect once per turn. So this can be your normal, and then you pitch a spell trap, summon a tuner. And also, if you get it into your graveyard through any means, when you use your other monster's effects, she comes back out, which is useful for, as I mentioned, synchro climbing, because they make synchro tuners. So, all in all, a pretty straightforward card. Helps set up the strat pretty well. So, let us then grab... Oh, yeah, no, I'm looking at you. This one, baby. Elzette of the White Forest. Was just Rizette, so probably Liz or Lizette of White Forest in the OCG. Elzette, I don't know exactly why they went with that way, but it does sound a little more fairy tale-y to me to go Elzette. It does maybe sound a little more Aussie. So in this card art, you can see who is obviously... sorry, I'm refreshing my preview window to see in there. This is the baby Diabels. She's got a similar kind of big puffy coat. She's wearing blue stockings. Her eyes are normal, though. They're not freaky. What is freaky is she's surrounded by lots of little guys. That's because Elzette's special magic quality is speaking with the dead. So, she's a necromancer.
He looks like a doll in, the creepy way, but, I think that's the point.
Yeah, I think she's supposed to be a little bit of a creepy child, and she's surrounded by, some very scariest, serious-looking ghosts. Also, I think her staff is, a shovel?
Yeah, she's got, she's got the white-blue aesthetic. I guess she's got the white-blue-black thing going on. I mean, as in, good magic colors.
Yeah, it does work. So she's got some spooky ghosts with her, but that's...
Also, because I feel I'm already blanking on her name, but the other girl, her actual name. Astellar. They both have, lily spirit lanterns.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which I assume are, related to their magic because, like I said, their color... Each of the White Forest is supposed to have a color-coded magic color. Elzette's is yellow. So... It's part of their kind of color scheme. And she has these chains, which I assume is how she helps control the ghosty goose.
I wonder how their names mixed with Diablo or something is actually the pun in Japanese for their names.
I'm not actually... That may be something that's in the valuable book. I'm not actually sure where because Diaberu, is kind of the name. There's no explanation for where it comes from as a name. It is literally Diaberu in Japanese. like the there's no like forced reading. It's just phonetic characters.
Mhm.
Let me see if I can get it to But that is kind of like not the same as like devil, but is close to like how you would write Diablo or something like that. But like I said, the phrase Diabel is utilized a lot in this lore. So Elzet is your other starter. She's one of your non-tuners. She is another light spellcaster, level 2 with 0/0. And she says you can send a spell trap from your hand or field to the graveyard. Do special summon her from your hand, then add a White Forest monster from your deck to your hand, except Elzet. During your opponent's turn, if a light spellcaster tuner is special summoned to your field while this card's in your graveyard, add it back to your hand. You can use each effect once per turn. So Elzet doesn't eat your normal, and adds rather than summons, but she's still like a starter. And she can return herself, she can recycle herself, but obviously doesn't do so to the field, so she's not as good for synchro claiming. But, you know, they are the starters, which I think makes sense for kind of where we're at in the story. And then there are some other gals. Now, this is a thing that, like I said, we don't have the valuable book yet, so the exact relationship here, I don't know. Like, I don't actually know if the White Forest witches are supposed to be, like, are they like a little convent, you know, all living together? Are they a bunch of, like, you know, gal pal friends of all ages coming together? Do they live in a home for misfit children? Because I'm going to pull up the card art for our next one, which is Rusia of White Forest.
The other two were like away, like distinctly older than the other two.
So here's the thing. Like I said, I'm talking about bringing up Rusia. Rusia is older, but like in the sense that she looks like she's a teenager rather than a kid.
Like, okay, so like the other girls are like 10, she's like 15.
Yeah, I think like obviously with anime character designs it can be hard to tell, but like Elzet's like a little babu. She's like 6 to 8 probably.
I guess the way to put it is like the other ones are like pre-15 and one's like post-15 because I feel like that's the point of like 15's like usually the cutoff point. Like
and a lot of anime ages, but this is so Rusia, written as Rusia in the OCG, but Rusia works. I mean, she's basically wearing a red mage fit but white, though she has a little red in it. Her magic color is blue, obviously. But she's got like her lantern is like built into a rapier, and she's got lots of little things on like,
I wonder
hat
if
and belt.
If Diabel, a Diabel star, some of her actual outfits is basically an homaging to like her dead friends.
I mean, probably like
the very poofy like sleeve feels like a reference to that.
Yeah. So you know, we go through all of this, and you know, like I said, she's got a little more of a style you can follow along with. Rusia, I should say. Also, obviously, I would say this is kind of like the more sporty, possibly even tomboyish one. It looks like she's got shorter hair. She's got a sword. She's wearing like, you know, bloomer type pants and either, I think those are leggings because they're not supposed to be her boot because you've got like the little boot cuff. But like she's basically wearing pants and like a normal, a big poofy shirt. But this is a level 4 spellcaster tuner, 800 attack, 1500 defense. This is a synchro archetype, so the stats don't matter. And very important factor. First, while you control a White Forest monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. So she is an in-archetype extender. You can send one spell trap from your hand or field to the graveyard, draw a card. If this card's in your graveyard, quick effect. Target a White Forest synchro monster you control in your graveyard, return to the extra deck, special summon this card, but negate its effect. You can only use each one once per turn. So now, chat, you're kind of seeing the gameplay loop here. This is a deck that is all about resource generation. Rusia cycles a card, but technically you usually stay at being basically +1 because you're getting a card back when you draw, because you're sending a spell trap you haven't used yet. She is a relatively free extender if you special summon an Elzet and add her, or if you normal summon an Astalar. And also, both of the tuners have this effect where basically they reset your synchro monsters so you can use them again. Rusia's special art or special magic is described as transformation or transforming. What does that mean? Don't know. Also, I should check my color theory wheel, but like it's probably important that Astalar and Elzat are pink and yellow, are their primary colors. Rusia is blue, and the one we're about to see next, Sylvie, is orange, which are colors that go well together. So that's, you know, I assume intentional there. Sorry, I'm reading some fun fact. The sinful spoils do things. They talk about, and Rusiella is described as being overprotective. So if we take it that obviously Rusia becomes Rusiella, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna pull up Sylvie, as mentioned. Sylvie of White Forest. Yeah, not looking super adult, but I do think she looks like she is the oldest of them. Also, honestly, has kind of the most distinct look, I want to say. Because obviously her primary color is orange, so she's got like an orange necktie, she's got an orange wand. Her magical power is beast taming, by the way. Hence why she's surrounded by animals.
Oh my god, she's got the fucking... She's got the Garo style priest brush. That's fun.
Yeah. She's got a lot of fur incorporated into her design with like her...
She does look like she just transformed into one of her wolves.
A weird hat,
like...
and her sleeves. Yeah, no. She's like... This girl realized that she has the magical power to tame wolves and was like, this is my entire personality now. Because she's wearing like a weird floofy wolf hat. She's got like fur-trimmed jacket. But like I said, she's got more of a distinct look than some of the others.
Her turning into like a wolf monster feels like the least unsurprising thing ever.
Yeah, it's very telegraphed. But with her like kind of cooler blue color scheme, like I said, she looks the most mature out of the girls, and also like has her most own distinct look.
I also noticed that like that small animal there is about to eat that fruit.
Yeah, I don't know if that's good. I don't know if that's good.
I also feel like they shouldn't be in this forest, but maybe I guess it's just this only place they can be.
Well, you know, there might be a thing called Beware the White Forest later, but for whatever reason they're in it, they're looking for stuff. Silvera, aka Sylvie, is described as elegant but liking cute things. Hey, you want chat? Here's a lovely fact. It's shown in the concept art, but Diabelle Star's nails are painted. You want to know who paints her nails? Silvera. The little wolf arm scarf she has paints her nails for her. So yeah, talk about shit I'd love to see animated. Please not as a 4-minute special. Like there's a lot of fun we could have with this. What Sylvie does in the archetype, though, is she's the other tuner. She's a light level 4 spellcaster tuner. She has 1500 attack and 200 defense. Also probably another call for her being the oldest of the girls. If she's normal or special, add a White Forest spell trap. If this card's in your graveyard, quick effect, target a White Forest synchro you control in your graveyard. Return it to the extra deck, special summon this card to negate its effects. So, tight resource loop. This one is also an important normal or special, depending on what you're doing, because if she's summoned, you add a spell trap. So we could do the synchro monsters, or we could do the spell traps. What do you think?
I think we should do the spell traps, because I think that works better for like getting to the actual synchro monsters, because synchro monsters are like kind of where everything kind of goes to shit, narratively.
Yes, there's some stuff happening there. So, we will begin the stories. So, the spell traps of this are very, have a very distinct aesthetic you're going to see, chat, in that they are basically shadow puppets. And it is basically revealed through the alt art of Diabell Star later, which, like I said, we will possibly get to tonight, that the spell traps are her telling her own story, but as shadow puppets. But that means they have the border inside a border type look, and like I said, they're literally like shadow puppet stuff. It's real good. The naming convention of these cards are a little interesting. They're a little more, I want to say, like, active in Japanese. The name of Beware the White Forest, which we're looking at right now, in the OCG is literally Do Not Enter the White Forest.
Fair. Probably also like it's layered in how it's said, because
Yeah.
Japanese is like that.
Yes, it does involve a couple of different pronunciations. So, this art is non-committal. It does feature a shadowy figure we'll see later. The Queen of the White Forest. But doesn't really, like, mention which one of the girls this is. This is just somebody goes into the White Woods, there's a spooky figure in there. This card is very simple. It's cut from a decent number of lists, but I usually still play just one because you need spot removal, chat. Too many people don't play spot removal. You need spot removal. Beware the White Forest is a normal spell that says if you control level 6 or higher illusion or spellcaster, target a card your opponent controls, destroy it. Just pop one. If this card's sent to the graveyard to activate a monster effect, you can set it. You can only use each effect once per turn. So, I'm not exactly sure what you're supposed to infer from the effect and the card art, other than just, the White Forest is dangerous. Don't fuck with it. Now, this one is one that is a little more on the nose. This is Scourge of the White Forest, also known straight up in the OCG as just Demon of the White Forest. So this shows, like I said, a person we haven't met yet, who has a distinct blue and, or not blue, green and purple color scheme. And she appears to either be... It's Diabell. This is why I said I have to be careful about truncating the names. Diabell, Queen of White Forest. Like I said, we'll show her off. But she appears to be eating one of these red apple things.
I always wondered if it's a thing of, like, someone made her eat it, or she just ate it because she was awoken or something. I'm not sure.
This is a thing, like I said, where we have to, like, just speculate and do a little detective work because the valuable book's not translated. I would gather that... Yeah, they're kind of like, oh, hey. I would gather... first of all, there are brambles and thorns, which is a recurring theme about something else here. It's overtaking
also also overcovering the picture and then the frame itself.
Yeah, it's like overcoming the frame. There's also a recurring motif of 7 eyes in here. So, like,
7 sins, yeah.
The eyeballs are kind of a big deal about the whatchamacallit. They are a recurring visual theme. The red fruit thing we're seeing is a hallowed Azamina, so it's a recurring theme. So there's a lot of stuff going on here. And obviously, this is the silhouettes of Astalar and Elzet. And something's going on here.
Are they looking in surprise, or I don't know. Like
they're kind of like pointing it out, like they're suspicious. I think the primary thing is Astalar in the hood is pointing. Elzet is holding out her hands, like, give me some of that. So you're starting to see what may be going on here. The effect of this card is tribute a Synchro monster, target a face-up card on the field, negate its effects at the end of its turn. If you tributed a White Forest to activate this effect, you can special summon an illusion from your graveyard. If this card's sent to the graveyard, you can set this card. So this is just another, card in their pack of tricks. You tribute a Synchro monster to negate. If it was a White Forest, you get to summon an illusion, which ideally means you are summoning back one of the big ones. Or the big one. Now, here's where things continue to get a little freaky. The purple and green lady eats the fruit. Stuff's going on. So, we now access the sinful spoils of the White Forest, which is why this seriously, TCG team should have been White Woods. Sinful spoils of White Woods, very direct. But now we're kind of like burning the frame. But we can see clearly the two figures that were Elzette and Astellar are like collapsed. They appear to be being taken over by purple and green energy. Remember that Diabellstar's eye glows green when she's using her sinful spoils. There's a green theme going on.
I just wonder if like
Elzette's
is
purple.
I guess the worst thing is like, to me, it doesn't make sense if like the queen just randomly ate one of the fruit if she like was in charge of this place, unless it's like one of them forced her to eat the fruit or something.
Well, I don't think they forced her to eat the fruit. I would assume at this stage, because we'll see later, that first of all, I'm not actually even who the fuck Diabell is like an open question to me, because I have suspicions that like she's not real, because I think she's the only illusion. Actually, no, some of the other synchros are illusions, but like
Azamina's an illusion as well. So like, and also Diabell's is also an illusion herself. So like everything changed by the woods is an illusion.
I think that the person they meet as Diabell, Queen of White Woods, is actually not that. But it was like it's a front to try and like trick these girls into picking the fruit. But like I said, it's a little unclear right now.
Honestly, this just gives me the impression that they died and then their bodies were filled up by like their tears.
I don't know if they died, but the thing about sinful spoils is that, remember, the sinful spoils are made out of souls, and then your body becomes a puppet for the demon. So I think this is the demon, which may or may not already be possessing Diabell, because she's getting all thorny army and weird, and she's got the 7 eyeballs around her. Maybe trying to take them over, because they're kind of like, you can see they're kind of like degrading.
Yeah, because like, I always want to think at the bottom are, is that supposed to be like their lanterns?
No, those are their shadow puppets, remember?
Oh.
They're those little figures, but the puppets are like literally melting away. This card is a very fundamental card to the deck because it is both a White Forest spell trap and a sinful spoil. If you control a fiend, an illusion, or a spellcaster, activate one of these effects. Special summon a fiend, illusion, or spellcaster from your hand. So
that's all three things necessary.
Yes. There is a fiend as Amina. There's not a fiend in White Forest. I don't know why. Other than, I guess, it's actually no. I kind of know why. It's referenced later that the sinful spoil that Gabonga has was eaten by the Crazy Beast. The Crazy Beast is a level 6 fiend, so I think he's supposed to be involved in some of this, but it's a bit of a stretch. It's weird. I have to admit, I feel like Konami kind of tacked on the fiend thing because they were also making Fiendsmith at the same time and wanted to make a really good deck that would sell a lot of cards. Because the fiend connection to White Forest and to Azamina is, like I said, really narrow. It's literally just Goblin's Crazy Beast, the level 6, who's not good in that deck, but I guess you could play. But the Fiendsmith is a way better target. But yeah, if you control a Fiend, Illusion, or Spellcaster, you can either special summon a Fiend, Illusion, or Spellcaster from your hand, or fusion summon a fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field. If it's sent from the graveyard to activate a monster effect, you can set this card. So this is your archetype fusion spell, or is just free extension. It is a quick play. By the way, this is one of the few cases of a quick play fusion spell that, because it says you have to control a fiend, illusion, or spellcaster, you don't have to activate this in main phase. You can activate this in the battle phase. You just have to still have a monster left to do it. But things continue to get a little spooky. This first one is probably like earlier in the storyline, but still is a little unclear. This is Tales of the White Forest, which is actually fairly literal.
I think it's because honestly, I think it's because Economy America. I think Economy America just wanted to do like a parallel to the Black Forest.
Well, yeah. And if I had to guess based on this, because this shows the four shadows, Rusia, Sylvie, Astalar, Elzet, working for Diabel. If I had to guess...
She was their teacher? Maybe?
So I think that's supposed to be Morgana, Witch of Eyes, I think. But my suspicion is that regardless, Diabel, I think, tells the girls to go into the White Forest and get her an Azamina. And then she gets the Azamina and she's like, haha, ho ho, hee hee. I was evil, actually. Oops. You shouldn't have did that.
Or it overtook her, but that feels weird.
I do want to point out that as of yet, like I said, this is unexplained. Do note that Diabel is the only one of our witches here who has two colors, has two types of magic. She has the purple and the green.
You know, the purple feels like her main one, but
yeah. We also don't know what type of magic Diabel was supposed to.
The weird thing is
specialize
that like Elsevier. Why am I saying Elsevier? I'm saying that one. I'm saying the other girl. That's
But Tales of White Forest is a
purple?
normal spell.
it's like the
No.
her own color, but like.
It's a very saturated one, but Astalar's color is supposed to be pink.
Oh, okay.
Which is why it is, I think, more of a red violet, rather than a straight up violet. But yeah, Tales of White Forest is a very straightforward spell. If you control an illusion or a spellcast, add a White Forest monster from your deck to your hand. If it's sent to the graveyard, set this card. You can activate one effect per turn. Pretty normal shit. It's your Searchifier. And then our last White Forest spell trap. So, remember the spooky shadow we saw in Beware? That's back. And now we've got a bat and a dog shadow puppet, so we've got a spooky two-headed dog and a weird bat monster. And the important thing is we haven't seen, like I said, we haven't actually looked at Diabel yet, because it's kind of a reveal, but, the Synchro Monster Diabel has that weird, like, geometric eye thing as, like, her symbol. So, like I said, I think the idea here is that, like, Diabel...
Taken by demons.
Well, yeah, I think Diabel tells them to go into the forest, but she is also the dark spirit in the forest fucking with them. Like, it... Again, the details will probably become more clear later when we actually get the valuable book 5, like, properly translated. But we're definitely in a space of, like, there was some kind of classic fairy tale shenaniganery going on. And we'll talk about that more once we get to talk about the actual Azaminas as well.
Yeah,
but
because I feel like we show the Synchros, we should show the Azamina counterparts afterwards, too.
Well, we'll do that very rapidly, because that's there. But there is some transition involved as well after that. But this is Woes of White Forest, also actually fairly literally translated. Woes of White Woods would be pretty great. But it shows something weird and spooky happening. Hey, guess what? This is a trap card that lets you synchro summon monsters. Gee, what sort of demonic transformation is taking part on this card art? This is a normal trap that says special summon a White Forest from your hand or deck. Immediately after this effect resolves, synchro summon a White Forest synchro. If this card's sent to the graveyard, you can set it.
So do you need to synchro without materials, or you can synchro... So it's...
You do need... It says you can, so it's optional, so you need materials.
It's like, usually, because I think about it, no, it's more of fusions where it's actually two people together. Synchro is more just like changing to an elevated state.
Yeah.
It's changing, which means technically, and the way this works, it could just be you combine basically you force a demon onto like one of the witch girls and they become this.
Well, you know, let's talk about it. Let's showcase some things. Things get bad. things get bad. Why did they get bad? Again, not entirely clear. But our first synchro monster is, suspiciously enough, Rusiela, Sinister Soul of White Forest. Or her name in the OCG is Shiroki Mori no Masho Rusiela. Rusiela, Devilishness of White Forest. Sinister Soul works, I think. We're being alliterative again.
He's been turned into a vampire.
Yeah. Should be no shock to anybody that Rusia's power of transformation, she turns into a bat lady, a sexy bat lady. Sylvie is a wolf.
She was a werebeast. She was a weregirl, or like some kind of trope.
Yeah. But obviously, like, while you can tell this is still supposed to be Rusia, she's also
like
very different.
It's like some kind of like ascension, or I guess it is more of like a demonic evolution of herself.
Yeah, because she's got some extra wings, but she's also got aesthetics. She's still got her headpiece and her rapier. She's got pointy, demony ears. Her hair.
Her hands are like blossoming flowers.
Yeah, she's wearing weird gloves over her puffy sleeves, but they have points. She's also got like pointed nails coming out of her.
I don't know if they're gloves
stockings.
considering her legs. I think those are actually just the flesh of her legs.
Now, if she was naked, Konami would have edited her. This card art is not censored, by the way. I think an important thing going on is like her eye color's kind of the same, but it's kind of glowy now. But her hair color, real goofed up. She originally kind of had like lightish blue hair. Now her hair is white, but like ombreing to red. So there's a lot of stuff going on here, and also there's like weird repeating evil sigils all over the place. So this is, the big version coming out. This is a light spellcaster, synchro tuner, level 6, 2000 attack, 1500 defense. So we're still a spellcaster. We have not yet become an illusion, but we're powered up. She's completely generic. One tuner, one or more non-tuners. If this card's special summoned, send a spell trap from your hand or field to graveyard, add a White Forest card, or any one light spellcaster from your deck to your hand. You can only use this effect once per turn. Illusion and spellcaster synchro monsters gain 500 attack, can't be destroyed by opponent's card effects. So, Rusiela is your pretty standard extender. Usually, if you're going first, you make her to pitch a card to get advantage and to search a piece so that you can set up to synchro climb into the big lady, who we will talk about shortly. She is also still a good card to keep around, though, because both of the small synchros have this effect where they increase the power of illusion and spellcaster synchros. And also, like I said, Rusiela has just a blanket effect where your illusion and spellcaster synchros can't be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. So they she has enduring value and is not just an extender. Silvera, Wolf Tamer of White Forest, is next. And I'm gonna be honest, one, I think they fucked up the framing on this a little because they made her two wolves, like, fucking huge, which means that she's very small in this. But other than that, she doesn't really look that different.
No,
she's not nearly as. I mean, and it makes sense. We talked about this.
It's got like the fox girl, wolf girl thing going on.
Yeah, she's got like two glowy horns now, which look like ears on her hat. Also, her brush has become a broom.
Honestly,
I'm
honestly thinking about it. I almost wonder if like this is that kind of like the point of the Witch Coven, where you're supposed to actually become like one with your demonic self and basically ascend to more power or something.
Yeah, I don't actually know where the demony parts come in. Like, because keep in mind, like Rusia was listed as having her special power was transformation. So I think her becoming a sexy vampire lady is just like her using her magic to like its maximum extent.
It feels like her, because like the two that happen to, that don't have like horrific shit happen to them. relatively, are like the two older ones that feel like they're about to become like true witches or something in that kind of sense, where it's like this is like their big day, and just the two older ones that are like the new ones just are horrified by it, or something goes wrong.
So let's get ready to show the big lady. But what Sylvie does for your team, Silvera, sorry, is her full mode. I do also. Wolf Tamer is arguably very lame. Her name in the OCG is Maro, Witch Wolf, which sounds way cooler. But Silvera is
I think they also could have said Mistress of Beasts.
That might actually, I mean, because they've got X of White Forest and her name. That might be a little long on the typeface. But like, Witch Wolf, I think gets across what we're going on because she's very witchy right now. Yeah. But this is your other 6. This is another Synchro Tuner spellcaster. She's 1900 attack and 2400 defense. But also keep in mind, chat. Remember how I said, Luciella says your spellcaster and illusion synchros gain 500 attack. So she is actually 25. Silvera is actually 24. That lets them get away with some stuff with the stats. She's also generic. If this card's special summoned, you can change all face-up monster opponent controls to face-down defense position. That's right, baby. Book of Moon. Illusion and Spellcaster Synchros you control gain 500 attack, and if they attack a defense position monster, they deal double piercing damage. So Rusia is protection. Silvera, despite being the lower attack stat, is offense. She books your opponent's monsters and gives your White Forest Synchros double piercing. Once again, trust me, chat, the double piercing matters. You do not know how many times I have punished somebody for not realizing they're going to get Book of Moon in the middle of their combo and, like, playing into a opportunity to summon Silvera on my opponent's turn. And then just clobber them in the next battle phase with a 0 defense monster. Because we're going to talk about the big lady, the woman herself. Just Diabel, Queen of White Forest. This is another one that's interesting. In the OCG, she is described at, like, I think calling her the Queen of White Forest works for the fairy tale thing they got going on. Her OCG name, though, is Yoma, Apparition, as in something ghostly. And she is the first one to be an illusion, so I think that is the point. That, like, clearly...
She's a phantasmal.
Yeah, like I think she is supposed to be a ghost or an apparition or a yokai or something. Like, something about her is not the same as the rest of the girls. Because
she... let's go with it. She doesn't have a witch hat, but it's more of like the impression of being witch-like. So it's like it feels like she was a thing that pretended to be another thing, and now what she actually is, she's some kind of like weird tree being spirit.
Yeah, that's the thing I want to bring up is that, like,
but I also think she used to be a person. I think she used to be
parts
a
of her are clearly humanoid because she's got like
she also
ears in the face.
She has Oni horns though, which means I think it's the impression of being like. But that's usually a visual motif in like Oni stories of like a person turning into an Oni.
It's true, and she is called a Yoma. But I think the critical thing, like you said, is that, like, significant parts of her are trees now. Like, her hand there holding that white and black symbol we've seen before in the spell traps, which alternates her green and purple energy. That's just a tree hand. Like, she's got a hand, but it's, like,
it
clearly made
like
of, like, black wood. And it's got vines growing out of it.
It just feels like there's a build-up to this that, like, we just never saw.
Yeah, I will say that is something about using the shadow puppet motif of the spell traps is that, like, I'm not sure how this worked. Because, like, in Tales of White Forest, all 5 of these characters are introduced, and Diabel looks pretty normal. Later in, like, what was it? Like, Scourge... That's called Demon of White Forest in the OCG, right? Like, she looks much more, like, sinister and demonic. So I'm not sure what they've got going on here.
Something happens, but I feel like they might do, like, Azamina, maybe?
Yeah. I mean, she's got the sigil everywhere, the logo everywhere. Which I don't... Does the trivia actually, like, talk about her logo?
I really want to see that
Oh,
book.
actually, no. This
Curious
is the thing we should say. 'Cause I didn't even think about Diabelle's. So she's got heterochromia, right? She's got a green eye and a purple eye.
Yeah.
Diabelle Star gets the green eye. Diabelle's gets the purple eye.
That's literally like the two magic eyes out of fucking being
Yeah.
out of one.
She is both the black and white color scheme that Diabelle Star and Diabelle's get, and she is called Diabelle. So, like, I'm not exactly sure, like, how, you know, it works with, like, as Amina later and some of the later lore, but I get the impression that, like, so again, it was mentioned last time in the Valuable Book 4, the precursor, the demons exist and that they curse you, they steal your soul, they make your soul into a tool, and then your body is a tool. Obviously, neither Diabelle's nor Diabelle Star actually got turned into sinful spoils. So I don't know if they're like, if like,
I feel like it could be a thing
like,
of like
Diabelle like picked them to like inherit her powers or something. Like you said, she's got Oni horns, so like.
It feels like she's been corrupting it. I feel like if you being a witch means you're resistant to the corruption.
Well, yeah, they did say that, like, I don't know if it's supposed to be exactly because of her specific magic or not, but Diabelle Star can use her sinful spoils because of her magic style. So I'm not sure how that works.
I wonder if, like, the witch magic here is what, like, it's been thing, but she's been slowly just been finally taken over or something.
Yeah, and I do like that there are multiple motifs here, right? Like, she's got a scarf, but it's got, like, weird feather motifs in it, or, like, the kind of, like, leaf. But she's also got, like, insect wings kind of behind her. Like, it's very interesting. They also actually show the snow, so I literally feel like Elzette and Astellar are, like, chilling in the forest, and there's a gust of wind, and Diabelle's just, like, standing behind them, being like, hey, what up? But her arm, her left arm is clearly holding that sigil that we see as a spooky shadow that is, like, fucking up Rusia and Sylvie later and stuff. So, like, something's going on here. It's very important.
Because, like,
anyway.
they also, I mean, the weird thing is it also could be, the fruit in the forest could be a new thing.
It's true, but I'm not sure because I suspect
Because
that's
I think,
an older
because in some cases they also could just be like their teacher is just a weird dryad lady. It's just a weird tree lady, but then like something's gone wrong.
Yeah. So Diabelle, Queen of White Forest, is a light illusion synchro. I believe she is the first illusion synchro ever. Yes. She has 2,500 attack and 2,000 defense for a level 8 synchro. She is completely generic, but if this card is synchro summoned using a tuner synchro, you can target a spell trap in your graveyard, put it in your hand. Any spell trap, cycle it back. When your opponent activates a card or effect, quick effect, you can send a spell trap from your hand or field to the graveyard, special summon one level 7 or lower tuner synchro from your extra deck, graveyard, or banishment. You can only use each effect once per turn.
Again, I feel like to read between the lines and do a bit of like the Albaz storytelling, you have to kind of like think of the effect in the context of the narrative.
Yeah.
Usually there's a little bit here or there. I think the spell trap is supposed to go with like her telling the story, so it's like this is a very core memory to like Diabelle Star, or it's to get a sinful spoil.
Yeah. Like, it's,
and then the other one
something
is, like,
going on
she
to, yeah.
causes the other girls to transform. Like she causes the two older girls to transform. I feel like that's intentionally that she causes that to happen.
And also, it plays into the deck because, again, Resource Loop, she gets back any spell trap from your graveyard you may have used. I have recycled Infinite Impermanence and other cards like that this way, triple tack, shit like that. But also, her effect to summon a Synchro Tuner obviously has some advantages. You can summon Rusiella to give yourself effect protection. Your opponent plays Lightning Storm, summon Rusia. Your monsters can't be destroyed by card effect. Your opponent's about to do like a big link play or something that needs face-up monsters, summon Silvera. Book of Moon, all their monsters. Their turn is over. So she's part of an advantage engine that keeps going. And remember, even if you already had to link climb through those Synchro Tuners, you can still get them back because the Tuners have the ability to put back your White Forest Synchros that are on your field or graveyard into the extra deck to resummon themselves. Also, she is, like I said, 25 normally, which is a little low for an 8, but obviously, if you get Silvera or Ciela out on the field, she gains 500, so she can be as high as 3,500 and is immune to effect destruction and does double piercing. So I think the implication, obviously, like you said, comparing the effect, is the idea that, like, Diabelle is scary, but she is scarier when she has minions, basically. When her whole posse is working with her, she's much stronger.
Because I almost feel like the thing of, like, I'm not sure if she's actually, like, the villain yet in this current form. I don't actually know, because their teacher, their head witch teacher, could just be a weird tree lady because she's mutated to that, like how like the other girls transform in their own forms, things of their magic. So, like,
And like, this is the thing.
She could just have tree magic.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. That's the thing we don't know, and it would make sense because she's green. The book apparently does not specify what types of magic Diabelle has. We just know that her iconic colors are purple and green. So the green could be from this. Anyway, here's a very important sinful spoil that maybe elucidate a little bit of what we've got going on here. This is Susurrus of Sinful Spoils. A Susurrus, by the way, is a...
You made that a Valor spell.
Well, yeah, it's because Susurrus is a really good word. It means, by the way, a chorus of whispers. Susurrus is also just the Latin word for whisper. So, whispers of sinful spoils. And in this card art, it appears that our two little witch sisters are going to do something they probably shouldn't do and are going to eat the weird fruit. The formerly white, now black tree is giving them a weird fruit to eat, and they're going to eat it.
That fruit's like way more colored than the other one, and like the way it's plucked from, it seems like it's more like they plucked like.
Well, it looks like
the tree, not a fruit.
Thorn is like produced this magically, right? Like it's kind of like intertwined. But you're right, the color scheme is more vibrant, and notice how it's got kind of like a black color in the back. Like there's some interesting shading.
Yeah.
I do want to say that, like, I'm not exactly sure what's going on in the pose, but I think you can tell that Astellar is a little, I want to say, like, hesitant. Like, she's, like, holding Elzette's hand back. Elzette is cupping it with both hands, and she's like, I'm going to go in.
I wonder, this is my theory of the value book. I wonder if it's like, to be a witch, you have to eat the fruit and overcome it.
Yeah, that could be true. I think that the girls do
I
have
feel
their
like in this
magic
case,
ahead
like,
of time,
it just goes wrong. I feel like something just like, they're supposed to eat the fruit to become witches, or like proper witches, but it just goes wrong or something.
Well, yeah, the fruit is the Azamina, and that's probably not a good thing to eat for reasons we'll talk about when we jump to the next one.
It
But
also
this
could
is
be that like the
Sinful
Azamina was dormant for so long until now.
Yeah.
But
this is a quick play spell that is obviously a Sinful Spoils. It says target an illusion or spellcaster you control, return that monster to your hand or the extra deck. Great addition, by the way, there. Special summon an illusion or spellcaster from your graveyard or banishment. This card is sent to the graveyard. Activating monster effect, you can set this card. So, Susurrus of Sinful Spoils, Whisper of the Sinful Spoils, you know, the Temptation of the Treasure, lets you just bounce any of your illusions or spellcasters into another one. So, just, you know, it's all connected. So, now there's some very, very funny cards that are going on. So, there are a couple of cards that are Diabelle cards. They just use the phrase Diabelle. The first one is kind of a spoiler, but I think does kind of allude to what we've got going on. And this is why people were like, what? So, I'm going to go slightly out of order, but this does occur first. First,
we have the other Elzette. There's the other Elzette card, but that's for a bit later.
Yeah, that is also a White Forest, but that is also an Azamina, so I think it makes most sense when you get there. But here's a little preview. Because she's in this card art, she's just super out of focus. This is Play the Diabelle. Which also, knowing how much the Japanese love, like, homophones, this is literally Pure za Diabelle. Like, it's English.
Is this, like, part of the final battle?
No, because that's Little Elzette.
Oh.
And this is why the thing about Morgan is so important.
Wait. I know when this is.
Yeah, this is after Elzette becomes an Azamina. She fights back against their mentor, probably. The
Morganite Witch?
Yeah. Morgana of the Witch of Eyes, who is not a White Forest, but is a witch.
Also,
her magic is kind of black-purple.
Yeah, we also need to get to the... Actually, wait, if that's their mentor, that means them going to the forest was never everything they're supposed to do, but the other two just told them to go and it was fine.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not exactly sure about the order. But you can see that LZ has refined her demon summoning power. She's got a glowing purple eye now, and her ghost is now a ghost dragon. And she's fighting Morgana.
That has to do with the core thing they found in the forest.
Yeah.
That becomes Poplar.
Well, I don't know if it becomes Poplar because I think this is different from.
No, but I think it's maybe I think it's similar to Poplar because I think this is meant to be the reminiscence of like Doom or Execute Dragon or Doom Dragon.
No. Because like I said, this is still early. I think this is just what LZ's magic is when it's souped up, like how Silvera got like a big wolf and like Rusia transformed herself into a monster form. LZ's power is to talk to ghosts, so when she's powered up, she summons a giant ghost dragon.
That's fair. I guess I just compare it to like the Mystic Mystery of the White Forest, but yeah.
That's way later. Yes, that's and that card's name in English will just be Poplar of the White Forest when that set comes out in about a week. But notice there's some interesting things. Yeah. Morgana here has she has a distinct shape to her magic. She has a distinct color, which is purple. But she is also riding on kind of a yellowish scalar thing. Also note that her hand in the magic side has really long purple nails. Where have you seen those before, chat?
Oh, that's Morganite? That's Morgan?
Yeah, Morgan, the sinful spoil, yeah. And note the shape of her headdress for later. But this is a case where, we kind of understood this lady was important, but we didn't get it until they decided to, like I said, sync up the Morganites. But this is a battle occurring between LZ and Morgana. This is a quick play spell, Play the Diabel, that says, if a spell trap is sent to the graveyard to activate card or effect, send an illusion or spellcaster from your hand, deck, or extra deck to graveyard. During your main phase, you can banish 3 spell traps from your graveyard, including this card. Special summon a Diabel monster from your hand or graveyard.
Forget, but there's only Witch Time. There's no Devil Trigger equivalent in Bayonetta, right?
No, I don't think there's I don't even think in the sequels, because I have not actually caught up on the series since they switched to being Nintendo exclusive. But in Bayonetta 1, there's no super mode. There's just Witch Time for time period, and then when Bayonetta decides to kill a boss, she summons bigger and bigger demons.
Fair, because I'm just thinking about it being because we'll get to this, but what happens to LZ here is very much comparable to what happens to Virgil as becoming Neville Angelo and shit like that, where basically they're overtaken by basically the Dark Lord.
Yeah, and like I said,
an extension of them.
So I would also say there is still a slight connection. The normal, when you're doing Wicked Weaves, the normal demon you summon is Madame Butterfly, so that's your normal thing. The most common way for killing bosses and mini-bosses early in Bayonetta is a dragon head named Gamora. This doesn't look like that, but it is a giant dragon head, so it's not 100% related, but it could be. But we've pulled up Play the Diabel, which is kind of it shows the transition of what happened to LZ. LZ goes on a rampage and fights this lady.
We should rewind a bit to see what happens to everyone else before this point.
Well, like I said, we don't actually see that part.
I guess we don't see what happens to.
So the Azaminas, at least I think, they don't show up until later. They don't show up until the present.
Yeah, I guess we don't get to see what happens to a Stellar here after.
Oh no, we do.
That story. Okay.
We do actually, because this is basically if this was a flashback where our good friend Diabelstar maybe is telling this story in prison. There's another card called Like the Diabel. And this is literally a montage of Astalar becoming Diabelstar.
Okay. Because I remember there being a card, because I know there's a monster card for Lizette, Elzette, and I think there's then one other card that basically shows Elzette leaving the forest. But yeah, this is yeah, so basically, she ran the fuck away.
Yeah. She ran away. She lives by herself.
She ran away.
She has a knife. She does have some things with her. I think the things in those bottles may be her bottled up.
Right. Yeah, it's the two.
She has not yet used her sinful spoils. Note
Something
how her
happened to
magic is like
them.
holding them shut.
I don't know, think about it, but I guess I look at it as that something happened to the two of them once, like, Diabelle went crazy. Maybe Elsa turned them into spoils and then she ran away. I'm not sure. Because technically, parts of them still exist within the forest.
Well, yeah, their bodies. Remember, sinful spoils are the souls. The body part is still there.
Okay, fair. Their bodies are still there. So okay, yeah, makes sense actually. Yeah. You guys, I mean, are just the bodies controlled by the forest. Yeah.
Yeah. I think also the other thing that wasn't 100% clear in the card art until I saw this zoomed in is that Diabelle here is holding a like glass heart filled with green goo.
I guess
Very
it's Diabelle's heart.
Yeah. But this is a card, another quick play that says if a spell trap is sent to the graveyard by a card effect, set a spell trap from your hand or graveyard, but it can't be activated this turn, and you can banish this and 3 spell traps to special summon a Diabelle from your hand or graveyard. Neither of these cards are like directly related to White Forest or Azamina, but would allow you to play some more Diabelles in them. Honestly, I've seen some people still play Diabelle Star to like search sinful spoils. I don't actually think playing Diabelle Star is required in White Forest Azamina because she is a dark spellcaster, so she's not a good material for most of your cards. And she's a level 7, so she like doesn't work with any of your fucking synchros. But she is still a free summon to like get sinful spoils out, which can be helpful. One such sinful spoil is another transitional. But we had to show the other thing, I think, first. This is... sorry, tab. Sinful Spoils Awakening. Awakening Sinful Treasure in the OCG. So this is Elzette after winning that fight. Morgana is defeated in the back, filled with a bunch of dragony spiky bits.
I think before we did this, we should have shown the Elzette monster.
Yes, but mechanically that wouldn't make sense because she's an Azamina, and that would require... It would have started talking too much about the deck.
Fair. I guess we could start doing Azamina after this one. So I guess we could show the Elzette monster next to this one? Okay.
I mean, we don't need to show it next to it. The chat will see.
But yeah, the point is...
The Azamina are next, because guess what? Elzette is one of their, like, 2 main deck monsters.
I think her master, her teacher, I think freed her from being contained, but she's now forever corrupted.
I mean, I don't know. Like I said, we still don't know exactly how she decided to get into this. You can see the thorns kind of gathering around her, and she's got the weird glowing mark over her head. Also, note how her eyes are fucked up now. Now she has... Yeah. Her eyes were originally blue, but they've got, like, the... We talked before when we talked about Diabelle's eyes, how like, vivid they are. She has the other kind of heterochromia where, like, part of her eyes are shaded in purple, and the rest is her original blue color.
You got purple tips now, and...
You can see that she's kind of being, like, the thorns are wrapping around... the chain is like her magical instrument. That's what she used to summon her ghosts.
Yeah, it just looks like she got like freed from the control put under her, and she's just horrified by it.
I mean, I think she's just horrified in general. But also the thing is, I don't think she has been freed because that's not what the chains represent. The chain is her. That's her magic. The thorns are still there. That's the bad part.
They're withering though.
No, they're not. I'm pretty sure the bits floating around are, like, meant to be, like, entangling her. And they're still all around, like, her legs and arms. Anyway, apparently they lived in a village with a windmill, and we blew it up. Sinful Spoils Awakening says you can, if your opponent controls 3 or more monsters and you control a level 5 or higher illusion, target 3 cards your opponent controls, return them to hand. If you control a level 5 or higher illusion monster, this card in your graveyard, you can set it, but banish it when it leaves the field. Pretty typical Sinful Spoils stuff for.
It just feels
the
like literally
bounce
just
side.
like, if there's like enough people there, just blow them. Like just they're banished. They're gone. They're gone now.
Put it
Like-
back. So, we got to talk about the big one, the heart of it all. This is where we introduce Azamina, an archetype that has some like interesting way it does stuff. We'll start by kind of discussing the logo format because this is the Hallowed Azamina, Seinaru Azamibana, or Seinaru Azamina. So, the Sacred Azamina, or the Sacred Thistle Flower.
The 7 eyes, yeah.
This has the 7 eyes. Azamina is derived from Azamibana, which is the word for thistle flower.
Also, the bottom of the crest fits the spiraling thing that gave him the fruit.
Yes. And if you don't know, chats, thistles are a pretty common style of plant. They're all over the place, and there's many varieties of them. They have a bright purple color. They are known because they have thorns on them almost entirely. So that's why they have these thorny brambles. They are associated with medicine, and other things, but they have a long history of symbolism. I don't think the thistle being kind of the national symbol of Scotland is important, but it is. But they are used like in several, medieval contexts and stuff, and they are a thorned flower. And like I said, there's a lot of variety of thistles. So all the thorns are thistles, and they clearly represent something. This has kind of the eye sigil, and the 7 eyeballs. The eye with the eyeballs and surrounded by the thorns. And also we should point out the whatchamacallit, the snake eye original Sinful Spoil is a giant red eyeball. So I'm not sure what the intention is there. But this is kind of like the fundamental symbol of what's going on with Azaminas, which have a kind of like, they're clearly demonic, but almost all of them have a weird holy theme about them. It's kind of a weird case of like we claim a lot of like religious symbolism, but also we're obviously
this is
evil.
a weird. Here's an interesting thing to tell you, actually.
It's kind of a spoiler, but not really. So in Berserk, all the demons in Berserk?
Yeah.
They're all technically actually angels in that world.
I mean, depending on the context, many demons and also started from the same place as angels anyway.
No, what I'm saying though is like, it is a rule, it's a law of that world that all the demons are actually angels. They are beings of a higher plane. They are not of darkness. They are technically of eldritch light.
Well,
So,
maybe that is
I
related
feel the parallel
to
is kind of there.
our association with the Bela and stuff. Obviously, this is not quite like that. This looks like a coat of arms with a thistle motif, which, like I said, is something that is pretty common. This is a normal spell that says reveal an Azamina fusion monster in your extra deck. For every 4 levels it has, round down, send a Sinful Spoils from your hand or field to the graveyard. If it's face down, reveal it. Special summon that monster. This is treated as a fusion summon. If this card's in the graveyard, target an Azamina monster you control in the graveyard or in your graveyard, shuffle it, add this card to your hand. You can use each effect once per turn. So, this is the key thing about the Azamina style. Azaminas are fusion monsters, unlike the White Forest's synchro strategy. And they do have a fusion spell in the form of the Sinful Spoils of White Forest. But also, they are an alternate way to fusion summon by just binning Sinful Spoils. Take from that however you will, chat. And make sure to set this. Yeah, make sure to set the loop. Yeah, this is very funny. So this is, as mentioned before, Elzet, Azamina of White Forest, Saint Lizette of White Forest, or Azamina Lizette. Azamina and Saint are basically used the same reading here. So she's got her spooky corpse dragon being ridden by horrible flaming headless guys. This one does look more like she's being controlled by the apple or the Azamina, though she's got multiples of them, which is a little interesting. But also, her hair doesn't have the purple highlights yet.
Yeah, what I'm saying is
So-
like this is before.
Well,
This
yeah,
is
I
as
know it is
she's leaving
before.
the forest. So to me, so it's before her fight.
Well, I mean, I
with
don't
her-
think it's. I don't know if it's her leaving the forest per se. It's still, white and there's snow falling.
I think it's before she fights her master.
Well, yes, no, it is obviously because that I will say is something that the fight with her master does seem to destroy some of this stuff. At the very least, Morgana appears to have knocked off her hat where all the weird stuff is. But
I think what it does is like
can't
she was able to have
tell.
she got her consciousness back.
are her is a weird thing where like I can't tell because the way the color palette is. Hold on, I'm gonna fucking extreme zoom. Is her eye supposed to be? No, zooming in doesn't help. Because her eye kind of looks like it's, yeah, there's a reddish hue in there. So, like, she's got, like, purple eyes, like her purple irises. But also,
Plus the apple's like over.
she has, like, a red glow in them. So, like, obviously
Yeah,
she's under the influence of the Azamina itself. But she doesn't become a sinful spoil. And also, even if she does, like, get some of her consciousness back, I mean, we see her later
She's
as Diabelle's. She's still working
still
for the
enthralled.
Azamina and has
Yeah.
a sinful spoil that she got from Morgana. So,
Again,
like,
it's
I'm not
yeah.
exactly sure, like, where the timeline lines up, but she
I
does at
think
least
it's a
seem to
thing
stop
of,
becoming a weird tree lady.
I still think it's like the Della Angela thing of like it's in her, but she's able to like regain herself. So like now it's just like it's weird thing of like she's like to me it came off as this thing of she after her teacher she gained her autonomy back, but she's still enslaved to the Azamina. So it's a thing of she's been able to like mask it a bit.
And I mean,
Makes you think of, like, yeah.
we'll see later with some other cards that like I think the implication of some other things is that like technically whatever went on with Elzet and Astelar made them stronger. Literally one of the cards later is called Azamina Debtors. So like I think the implication is that like Azamina does not just kill or turn Elzet into a sinful spoil, keeps her as Diabelle's, the original Sin Keeper,
It's something
because
to do
they're
with
trying to
Diablo,
like
yeah.
control and collect the sinful spoils. They need people to do that. Because when we see literally the card called Queen Azamina in a second, their only other main deck monster, she can't go outside without getting some looks, chat. So I think they need agents, and that may be kind of the thing. But there is definitely some aspect that I think will only get cleared up with the book. Anyway, Elzet, Azamina of White Forest, is the bridge card that lets you play Azamina and White Forest together, and she's really good at it. She is a light illusion. Yes, she's an illusion now. She became an illusion, and stays an illusion when she becomes level 7 later. Still level 2, still 0/0. You can reveal this card in your hand, special summon a White Forest or Azamina monster from your hand. So that means herself both ways. During your main phase, you can fusion summon an Azamina fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field. If this card's sent to the graveyard as synchro material, add a Sinful Spoils from your deck to your hand. You can use each effect once per turn. So, Azamina Elzet is a very valuable extender. She works as a fusion spell if you need to make your Azamina fusions and you don't have one of the cards that does it on hand. Or, if you use her as synchro material, you can search one of the cards that does it anyway. So, a very important bridge of the two. But let's, like I said, we'll see what's going on with like I said, maybe who or what is actually going on with Diabelle. Oh, sorry, I still have my pencil out. Completely forgot about that. But the next one is Queen Azamina, who, once again, in the OCG, they do not use Queen. She is Azamina no Yoma, just Azamina Apparition. And in the case of several card arts, you're going to see this is clearly just Diabelle, but evil. Like, she's got the same 2 horns. She lost her weird hat thing, and her ears are more fucked up. But, like, she's roughly the same body shape and is doing a mirrored pose. But now, like, her dress is not a dress. It's her really long hair, which is also glowing. And, like, her actual lower body is the tree. And she has the actual, like, the small Azaminas, the fruits of sin growing from her body.
It
So,
feels like
like I
there's
said,
like most Yu-Gi-Oh things. It feels like there's at least like some context or like how I feel. Some part of it, I think, is supposed to carry over or something like some like Japanese thing that because they have a whole thing about reading the room. So it's probably just like some like context that just fills in the blanks.
Yeah.
That just still makes sense to us.
Yeah, but this is the kind of thing that I said, because this is a Dark Illusion, you know, level 8, same stats as Diabelle, the Synchro Monster, is, like, I don't know for sure until we see it, but I get the impression that, like, you're not supposed to, do not enter the White Woods. There's a horrible shadow in there, but there's also, like, a legend of the legendary, Diabelle, whatever that is. So, our little ladies set out, and they run into the legendary, Diabelle, Queen of White Forest. Well, guess what? Diabelle's not Diabelle. She's Queen Azamina. She's this thing, actually. And that is probably Susurrus of Sinful Spoils, where at some point she offers the two, like, hey, want to bite this weird apple thing? And obviously, that doesn't go well for them. But we're in super weird, fucked up territory. Though her weird, like, bug wings are looking even more wing-like. Though now they're, like, tattered, and thorns are, like, growing through them. Also, like, absolute caricature, turbo skinny waist, chat.
I mean, it's a facsimile of a person. It's not even.
I've always known Azamina's always been real weird, but she's definitely super fucked up close. Queen Azamina is a Dark Illusion, level 8 monster, 2,500 attack, 2,000 defense. Parenthetical, this card is always treated as a Sinful Spoils card. She is a Sinful Spoils.
It's a demon. It is a demon.
Yeah, no, something's going on. Not right. This card in your hand or field is sent to the graveyard or banished by an activated effect. Special summon it. When your Azamina or White Forest monster destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you can target a Sinful Spoils spell trap in your graveyard, add it back to your hand. You can use each effect once per turn. So yeah, basically, I think this is just the Queen Azamina shows up when you least expect her. She reveals herself. And also, she recycles Sinful Spoils. Later, we will see her, I think, ordering Diabelles to collect Sinful Spoils. So, she's getting her tools back. So, the fusion monsters.
I wonder if all the Sinful Spoils are meant to be just all of her fruit, as she's like the fucking like origin point of demons or something.
It could be. So, as mentioned before, when you Sinful Spoil, your soul becomes a tool for the demons, and your body becomes a puppet. So, this is Azamina Ilia Sylvia, whose name is written two ways in OCG. She is either Betrayal Saint Sylvia or Azamina Rhea Sylvia. Rhea Sylvia obviously being super Latin and kind of the basis for the mother of the twin kings of Rome.
They willingly let herself be merged with her, like be taken over by like the forest, or
I don't think so, because like I said,
or she's just done like that and it's just puppeting her body. I think binding her body with the wolves.
Well, yeah, no, it is just puppeting, so it's like it's real fucked up and weird. And also, remember, we know what Silvera is really like because her soul is in the sinful spoils that Astellar, Diabellstar, has.
True, and it's
like supportive, helpful.
It cares about their little friend.
They work together.
Like,
anyway,
like
this is real
actually
fucked up shit.
Yeah.
We're in the true demon boss mode here. Silvera's body is super wolf-like. It is forming a third head to this Orthus ass double wolf thing going on. The wolves also.
This is a Pandemonium set 2 boss.
Yeah. We've also got the the thorns coming out of the hands, and the wolves have thorn tongues. It's real bad. They also seem to have the kind of the Azamina over their eye plates as well. So I think that may be related to kind of the control of the puppeting, and that may be why Diabell's is not directly puppeted or monstrous, but is also still she's still not right. This is a Dark Illusion Fusion, level 6, 1900 attack, 1500 defense. Same attack stat, but lower defense than Silvera. Her materials are 1 illusion, 1 light spellcaster. Any battle damage your Azamina's except Sylvia inflicts to your opponent is doubled. Remember, Sylvie did double piercing damage.
Again, I feel bad for the wolves because they just got fucking parasitized.
They got slurped up into this, yeah. And you can only use each of the following effects once per turn. When your opponent activates a card or effect, tribute this card negate. If this card is destroyed by battle or card effect, add a Sinful Spoils trap from your deck to your hand. So in the actual deck, Sylvia is pretty important because she is. Remember, it says round down, so the 6s are 1 mat. So this is a card you usually summon early or in the middle of your combo to get a negate and kind of help lock down your opponent. If she actually lives all the way to the next turn or to the battle phase, you get to do double battle damage, which can end the game real fast.
I honestly look at this, or when you said the effect, it makes you just feel like it just reinforces that it's a body being puppeted. It's heavily disposable for the actual forest, so you could negate tribute. So because it's it being alive does not matter.
Next, we're gonna show off arguably the most fucked up one. This one has a animation and master duel. And this is the one that everyone was like, "What the fuck is this?" Moa Regina. This is very DMC or Bayonetta core. She's got a snake tail and a bird face, but crab legs or scorpion claws. Again,
okay. They got her body. Okay.
Yeah. They got. I presume that Elzet brought Morgana's body back with her, and that became they got split up. So the soul became Diabell's Sinful Spoils, and the body becomes Moa Regina. So this is another case where we have these interesting doubled names. In the OCG, this is Massacre Saint, Satsuruki Sainto, Regina, or Moa Regina, as in Regina is the Latin word for queen, and Moa probably means the extinct bipedal bird horrible monster demon that would have kicked the shit out of prehistoric humans. So she's the queen of monstrous birds. Terror birds. And yeah, no, it works. And like I said, this card has an animation in Master Duel. It's super fucked up. Just
what happens in it?
She just moves her legs and clacks her claws, and just flexes the beak mouth. But it's you look at this and you think, yeah, that's fucked up, and then you see it move and you're like, oh no.
Yeah, it's. I also noticed the fruits are the fucking ball joints, so that's creatively fucked up.
Yeah, no. This is a card that adding it motion just makes you go, ooh, this is not supposed to move, but it's moving.
It is literally meant to be a puppeted corpse, and you can also see the fucking snake tendrils made out of fucking layers of roots and fucking thistles.
Yeah, no. This is arguably Azamina's big boss monster. Technically, Saint Azamina is bigger, but this is the one that actually does stuff. This is a level 8 Dark Illusion Fusion. 3k attack, 2000 defense. 1 illusion, 1 level 6 or higher fiend. You can target an illusion monster in your graveyard except Moa Regina, special summon it. When an Azamina or Sinful Spoils effect is activated, except Moa Regina, quick effect. Target 2 cards on the field, destroy them. Just... extends and pops cards when you do other stuff. A engine of destruction. Doing nothing but here to... Yeah, the Massacre Saint. Nothing here but to fuck your shit
Saint, the Massacre Saint, yeah.
Yeah. And next
death
we
be
have...
happening.
Speaking of death, we have Murcielago. Which is... Murcielago, or Murcielago, sorry, I'm trying to separate the syllables there, is just Spanish for bat. She is a bat demon. Actually, technically, I think this is the censored card art. Let me double check the gallery. I think in the OCG she has a little bit of
again, it's
evil
just
cleavage.
it's resells like bat form, but being puppeted, basically used as like a tap, basically used as like a
yeah, no, that's right. She has bat cleavage in the OCG. But yeah, no, this is
it's
clearly
just a puppeted body with like the magic power still
Ursiela,
lingering
yeah,
inside there.
with even more monstrous transformation. She's got like 4 arms with freaky bat wings.
A demon has
big
basically
horns.
taken over her. So a demon has taken over her body. So like, yeah,
her spirit bats are like even more evil. Like they were already getting kind of sinister in her other one.
Also, I think as like a White Forest parallel, all of them still have like the roots attached to them, so they're still basically being puppeted by the forest the whole time.
Yeah, because the Azamina is the
They're still
thistle. But remember, the thistles are black. Also, by the way, it's subtle, but the way the card arts are drawn, obviously the Azamina versions are dark, but they have the same attack stat. But their poses are mirrored. Like, Diabel faces one way, Queen Azamina faces the other way, Murcielago faces one way, Lucia
they're meant to
faces the other way.
I think that, they're basically, so these are like their demonic forms.
Yeah. Her appellation is the Death Sentence Saint. Again, only the Japanese could come up with these boss subtitles. She is a Dark Illusion Fusion 6, so this is another 6. You can 1 matter. 2,000 attack, 2,400 defense, 1 illusion, 1 light spellcaster, so same basic materials as Ilia Sylvia. Monsters your opponent controls lose 500 attack and defense for each Azamina monster you control. You can lose each of the following effects once per turn. This card's fusion summoned. Add an Azamina or Sinful Spoils. This card's destroy a battle card effect. Add a Sinful Spoils spell. Azamina or Sinful Spoils card, by the way. So, much similar to how Ilia Sylvia and Silvera had the kind of like utility effects. One is a Book of Moon, one is a negate. They both double your battle damage. Murcielago has the ability to search on summon and is a more powerful search, but instead of her attack boosting effect, she modulates your opponent's attack, punishing, cursing them. And then she just searches even more because remember, White Forest Luciela protected your monsters. This just floats. It's just a search if she's destroyed. Again, so like no longer protecting.
In my mind, it's not the same. It's not it's the same body, not different person.
Yeah,
if that makes any sense. Oh,
well, and I think it makes sense, especially when we say that whatchamacallit, Rissia the Sinful Spoils is supposed to be like overprotective of Diabel, of Astelar. So like all that is like the soul. The puppeted form loses all that shit.
It's just the magic power left, yeah.
We're getting an extra guy. This is the case of this guy kind of comes out of nowhere, and technically, I think this leaves the game room to bring some stuff back. I mentioned before, Gabonga has a Sinful Spoil. It's an axe. It's called Itheon. The beast eats these. This is Azamina Sol Erexion. Starvation Saint Erexion.
Oh, so that's the spoiler. Okay.
So this is super Greek. So this guy's a tree. He's a tree. He's like a tree white.
Oh my god, I'm getting fucking like reverse Meleager vibes.
Well, it's funny you say that. We'll talk about the actual Eryxtheon myth in a little bit. This to me is like, this is a Souls or Elden Ring boss. He's like a weird, actually, especially Elden Ring with all its tree motif. This guy's a weird, fucked up zombie tree with a huge axe. He's gonna beat your ass.
Or it's more someone died and its body became fueled a tree, so its spirit.
Yeah, a
was inside
tree
the
grew out of its armor and like picked him up. So Eryxtheon is a king of Thessaly in Greek mythology. He is one of those classics "don't fuck with the gods" myth. He chopped down a tree sacred to Demeter, and she cursed him to suffer hunger from the rest of his life, no matter how much he ate. That is why it is the starvation saint. He's also known by the name Aithion, which in Greek means burning, because he was cursed with a burning hunger. So it has a flaming axe.
Also, his his like buckle has the fruit in it too.
Yeah.
Desimina.
And this guy also requires a fiend, and it's mentioned that the crazy beast, Goblin's crazy beast, like had the axe in its belly. And also, this guy's 2700 attack is the same as the crazy beast. So like, it's a weird case, like I said, where like technically this has a parallel with crazy beast, but like honestly,
we're just trying to do continuity.
Yeah, we're missing out. Like, that means there should be a Sinful Spoils Aithion card, which, like, does something. Like, that should be a spell or trap card we use. And then
Honestly,
also...
that'd be cool. That was a Sinful Spoil that also overlapped with Goblin Biker.
Yeah, that's what I was actually going to say, is that would give them a reason to do some of their stuff. And also, hypothetically, this guy, we could actually see what this guy's supposed to be. This is a weird case, though, of, like, I think this is the only Azamina who also has his Sinful Spoil. At least, you know, like, we see in the story.
He's just kind of like unrelated to like anything else, but I think it just implies the idea that like this forest has been harvesting people for a long time.
Yeah. This is the one you almost never see. Even though, like I said, I personally think this card's useful, but the extra deck space is pretty tight, so he often gets cut. This is a Dark Illusion 6, 2700 attack, 0 defense, 1 illusion, 1 fiend, so mostly generic. If this card's fusion summoned, target a card on the field, send it to the graveyard, not even destroy, send that shit. During your standby phase, target an Azamina or Sinful Spoils, add it to your hand, you can only use 1 effect per turn. I like Soul Eryxtheon because... once again, he's spot removal, and also, in Master Duel, I don't know about you guys, but I lose easily as many coin flips, if not more, than I win, so sometimes my opponent gets to go first, in which case, making a negate is cool. Usually making a send to graveyard is better. So, like, he has utility, but like I said, he is usually the fusion monster that is cut. His other effect is during the standby phase, add a Sinful Spoils or Azamina card in your graveyard to your hand. You can use each effect once per turn. So, he's just another extension tool. And then, I mentioned before, Moa Regina is kind of their, like, practical boss monster, but it's not technically their biggest, scariest one going on. Because shit gets a little more fucked up. And this is a card they did translate literally. This is Saint Azamina. Just say Azamina in the OCG. This is your Azamina on crack, I guess. She's returned to the source. She is fused with the hallowed Azamina, the central power.
This is just her like this is like her final boss form, or more of like this is more of like her true mastermind form. Like this is her true form kind of thing.
She's fused with the sigil and she's out here. And this card,
or maybe I guess maybe once that Diabels gave her back enough of the spoil, she was able to like regain her full like an aspect of her true power or something.
That could be it. So let me run through this card's mechanics really quick, because this one, like I said, this one's an interesting one. Technically, you would think this is the boss, but she's weird. This is a Dark Fusion, level 10, 0 attack, 4,000 defense. Largest defense of any illusion monster to date.
Yeah, she's there. She's posing at you. She's not here to fight you.
she requires 2 level 6 or higher monsters, 1 fusion, 1 synchro. So an Azamina and a White Forest come together. First of all, your opponent can't target cards on their field, graveyard, or banishment, or this card on the field with card effects. A very weird floodgate. You cannot target your own cards. You're already in her web, chat. Her vines, her maze. She sucked you in. If your opponent takes any battle damage you would have taken, period. Just straight up,
It just screams
U-Bell
like,
style rebounds your attack on your opponent.
I think it's going for the U-Bell thing, literally, of being like a malevolent spirit that's deeply tied to you, so you take damage from it hurting.
Yeah, this is like
You are already in her
like you
web.
said, this is her
She has already
mastermind form.
won.
Yeah, like she is. You are not fighting her. You're fighting yourself. But also, guess what? If this card was fusion summoned this turn, quick effect, special summon 1 level 9 or lower Azamina fusion monster from your deck or extra deck.
He also
Use this
summons the
effect
minion
once
to
per
fight
turn.
you.
Yeah, so
She summons the minion to fight you.
She puppets the bodies to fight you. She's a damage reverser. She has 4K defense and is untargetable. And also, like I said, is the weirdest floodgate. So
Again,
now there are some related.
I think it's like a mix of design, but also intention.
Yeah. First
Just
of all,
like, it sells the point.
technically this should have come up a little earlier, but again, this is directly related to the Azamina engine. So remember how we talked about what happened with our gal pals, Sylvie and Rusia. This is Deception of the Sinful Spoils. They're being taken over by the Thorns, and their wolves and bats are being demonized. So this is, Deception of Sinful Spoils, Deception of the Sinful
If we
Treasure.
put it all in chronological form, I think this happens immediately after, I think, the Diabell card happens. Like, this is...
Yeah, I think this is them overcome by the shadow of Diabell, while,
Because
Elzet and Astel
Because it
are
just
eating
looks...
the fruit.
Because the way I looks at it, it looks like one just gives up out of fear and one just, like, doesn't know how to fight back.
Yeah, they are despairing because they're being overtaken by dark forces. But again, it says deception, so clearly I think they were tricked. Hey, Loth.
Hey.
You missed most of our White Forests.
Yeah,
And-
sadly.
and- as Aeneas.
We're at the final act, or we probably wait till next week for the final act, I guess?
I'll
How
catch
long
up
have
later.
we been recording? Or streaming? 2 hours? 2.5 hours? We still got time because there's
We
we're
can finish
through all
the
the
final
Azaminas.
part.
We can run through it.
We'll have to go
yeah,
through
no.
some of the cards that haven't been released yet, but yeah.
Yeah, the climax.
more-
What were you gonna say, Loth?
No, that's fine. I'll just catch up later, and then I'll hopefully be ready for next time when we wrap this up.
No, we're not wrapping it up next time. We're gonna be done with this.
Okay.
Like I said, we're most of the way through
Oh.
the Azaminas, so we're only been going
Oh,
for 2.5
okay.
hours.
My bad.
But this is Deception of
Yeah.
the Sinful Spoils. This is a continuous spell card that says you can tribute a monster from your hand or field, add an Azamina card from your deck to your hand. If a monster is sent from your opponent's graveyard and you control an Azamina monster, except during the damage step, you can make your opponent lose 1500 LP and then gain 1500 LP. During the end phase of this card's in the graveyard because it was sent there from the spell trap zone, while face up, set it. So this is a card that kind of does everything for the deck. MBT even, I think, talked about this, that, like, there's a very brief window where Azamina, like, Sinful Spoils control existed. So this is a Sinful Spoil spell trap, so it's very searchable in this deck. It adds an Azamina card, which can give you a Queen Azamina, or it can give you a fusion spell we're going to talk about later. It is a Sinful Spoil, so you can send it off a card like the Hallowed Azamina to get materials, and if it is sent that way, you get to set it back. But if you get to keep it on your board, if your opponent sends a monster to the graveyard while you have an Azamina, you get to do 1500 damage and gain 1500 LP, which is like a really mean time card. So, lots of stuff going on to kind of go out there. Here, we're kind of like going, back and forth on the relationship. This is another Azamina card. This is Azamina Aphis. aphes is a Greek word which means to send or to let go. So I'm pretty sure this is Diabelle's shows up back to the forest. With her mission,
And
you can see there's a
is
sleepy poplar.
And she's losing a little bit of what remained of her consciousness again.
I don't know about that exactly, but it's clearly I feel like Queen Azamina is like manipulating her.
Tag's hypnosis.
Well, she's like breaking her weird cane.
Yeah. I mean, that would be
but notice Poplar's just taking a little nap in her hood. In her hat.
Yeah.
The MacGuffin is sleeping.
So yeah, this is, Queen Azamina sent Elzette on a mission, and she's come back, and she's giving her a head pat that's very creepifying. But this is a card that is... also a White Forest.
Like, I just look at the way your hand is, like, ripping, where it looks like there's, like, some part of her that doesn't want this to happen.
I mean, I think that's very fair. Even if she works for Azamina, you've seen Azamina. I would not want her to be this close.
I think it's also more of inside of her mind, she never wanted to do this, but she can't stop herself kind of thing. At least for how everything up to this point has implied.
Sorry, I was typing. I mentioned before, but I'll reiterate, this is a normal trap that is also always treated as a White Forest card, so this is another bridge card, funnily enough. We're kind of returning to the White Forest. This is a normal trap that says, target cards on the field up to the number of fusion and synchro monsters in your field and graveyard that are fiends, illusions, or spellcasters. Return the targeted cards to the hand. If this card's sent to the graveyard to activate a monster effect, set it. You can use each effect once per turn. So this is just...
Recycle.
Well, not just recycle. Also, this is a multi-target Phoenix Wing Wind Blast. Because it's target cards on the field up to your fusion and synchros in your field and graveyard that are fiends, illusions, and spellcasters. So if you've done an entire Azamina White Forest combo, you probably have... I mean, ideally, you can have like 4 of those fuckers on the field. Usually you have about 2 minimum. Maybe 3, but you might also have sacked one earlier to negate, for instance, with Illa Sylvia. So this basically bounces your opponent's whole board. It's searchable 2 ways because it is an Azamina spell trap, an Azamina card, and a White Forest card. Kind of like how Queen Azamina is both an Azamina and a Sinful Spoil. And it just is really good, and it still has the White Forest effect that you can send it. Basically, once this came out, this replaced the Woes of White Forest trap as a trap to search and activate in this deck. But I mentioned earlier a card name. It's time to bring up that card art. Technically, we should show a couple of Goblin Biker cards about now, but like I said, those are close anyways, and we're going to bridge to them soon. This is Azamina Debtors. Basically, the thing you're missing is that, in terms of release order, after we experience all the White Forest flashbacks, it basically turns out that either Diabellstar was remembering that, or she was telling the Goblin Bikers that while they were in jail together. She and they get knocked out, and they all get put in prison. And then they prison break. But also, fucked up shit is happening as we prison break.
I don't even know if it's a prison break. It might be that more of
no, it is a prison break. There is literally a goblin card called
okay.
Grand Breakout. So the goblins break out of prison.
And then when they break out, these 2 show up.
Yeah, the Azaminas show up because this card is literally Azamina Debtors, or in the OCG was called Azamina Opheliatis, which is a Greek word which means debtor. So this is... we got the Poplar, but... and maybe that's why Diabell's is so uncomfortable. Queen Azamina is like, hey, cool, you got me the eyeball I needed. What about the other sinful spoils? And so we've sent the other Azaminas to collect from Diabellstar. It's raining. Look at the fucking rain effects on her. Like,
I almost want to think that like the 2 sinful spoils are reacting to seeing their bodies again, but I'm not sure.
I know it's not actually that way, but I do kind of feel like Silvera is like flipping herself the bird. Like, she's got one finger kind of raised up a little, like, boy,
It feels like
hey,
she's like, yeah, it feels like
hey.
she's raised up because it's like she's at least reacting to like, my pets. Why have you done them? Why have you done
Well,
that?
also remember that Sylvie was said to, or the personality of Silvera, and this is new for Loth, but I mentioned that the two sinful spoils, the Batwing and the wolf thing, are fused to Diabell's body, Diabellstar's body, by her magic.
I didn't know that.
They are independent. I did mention it earlier, but
They are independent.
We've
I
walked
didn't
it
know
back
she.
and forth.
I didn't know she. I didn't know. I guess. Wait, no, not initially. She eventually merged.
Yeah, she eventually sticks them onto her body, which is how she can use them without problem. But they still have distinct personalities. Riciella is described as overprotective, but also helps out Diabell. Silvera is elegant and likes cute things, and helps Diabellstar paint her nails. So,
Basically,
like, they're
she
part
was
of the
raised
crew
by
together.
she was raised by her two big sisters.
Yeah, that's
Kind
why I
of.
see a lot of fan art of the two Sinful Spoilers like taking care of her in the background.
Yeah, because they do
Yeah,
actually
something got
do
going
that.
on for them.
So Azamina Debtors is a quick play spell card that says, during the main phase fusion card, reveal an Azamina fusion monster for every 4 levels, send a Sinful Spoils from your hand or field to the graveyard. To special summon that revealed monster, counts as a fusion summon. During your main phase, you can banish it, target an Azamina in your graveyard, special summon it. So Debtors is a quick play, unlike Hallowed Azamina, but it's basically the same thing. You can only do it in the main phase, but it lets you fusion summon by sending Sinful Spoils. And
Which means
you
if
can
it's a
quick
quick
play to...
play, it can be
yeah.
played on your opponent's main phase.
Yeah, so you can use this to surprise your opponent by bringing out Sol Edicthon, which is a send, Ilia Sylvia, which is a negate. Even Murcielago, which lets you search, is also minus 500 attack for each Azamina you control. So, like, it can really disrupt your opponent's plays, and it's a very funny card to play.
So quickly, because of the name Debtors, it made me think of a specific GIF. I've searched it and put it in the Fail Portrayal chat, but for those who can't see it, aka the chat, I posted the GIF from the Mortal Kombat movie saying, "Too bad you will die." Because that's what the feeling I get from this card is.
Yeah.
Kind of, yeah, but after getting the context from Axe and you that, it's just the leftovers, I guess.
Yes,
It's
the
the
Azamina
bodies
monsters
being
are
taken over by
the
demons.
bodies.
The bodies
So
taken over by demons
we mentioned this
cover
before last week, but the sinful spoils, the things, are souls. The Azaminas are their bodies. So if you get cursed by a demon and it takes your soul, they turn your soul into a sinful spoil, which is a tool, and they turn your body into a puppet, which is the Azaminas. We also have another fucking sick-ass power shot. This is Azamina Determination, or in the OCG, the Japanese name, Azamina Harmatia, which is a literary term in Greek tragedy, which is a character flaw or error that leads to their downfall. Not their hubris, like not their pride, but a broader character flaw. In Greek translations of Christian theology, harmatia is also the word they use to refer to sin.
This is a very cool shot, though.
This feels
Yeah.
like the thing before. This is like the image before the one where Azamina gets close and like.
Yes,
touches her.
this I think is Diabell's returning to the forest. She's got Poplar. You can see it like kind of tucked under her arm, and she's greeted by Moa Regina, and then actually like meets
And it's the.
Queen Azamina.
I mean that thing is the embodiment of her sins.
Yes.
I love just the picturesque. They've kept like the white forest, like, it's fairy tale, but it's just so twisted.
Yeah.
Like, look at those weird flowers.
The flowers, there are weird shadowy animals. Like it's a great shot, great power shot. And I
It's
love
the
the way
thing
they
of, like,
handle what should we call it? Moa Regina in this shot too. Like she's in shadow
I
just
can't-
lurking back there.
I can't remember book 5 to be understandable because I want to know like what Diabell's situation to the forest is after she killed her mentor.
Yeah, I want an explanation as well.
I want to know if it's like she's tied to this or she's determined to get revenge, but chose to basically play into it.
I mean, they use the phrase harmatia, which means both sin and character flaw. It could be as simple as
She literally thinks she's powerful enough to do it.
Yeah, I know. Like, I think that it could just be as simple as, like, Diabell's is just biding her time until she could fucking slap the shit out of
She
Azamina,
literally
and
is
it's
pulling
like...
she's literally doing a Virgil.
It's not. Don't do that. Anyway, our next card is Guilt of Sinful Spoils, or Offenders of the Sinful Spoils in the OCG. Anyway, remember Azamina Debtors? Remember how those Azaminas were gonna clown on Diabell Star? Nah, I'd win.
Revenge was had.
Yeah, so Diabell Star awakens both her sinful spoil forms and defeats the Azaminas, both the bodies they're like
And they
broken.
get to,
They fucking
and they get to
trash
put their
the
bodies
prison.
to rest. They get
Yeah.
to put their bodies to rest, yeah.
Also, once again, talking about how just good the composition of this is. Note how Azamina Debtors, in the rain, overcast, sad as fuck. Even though this card is called Guilt, the sun is breaking through the clouds. We've won.
Yeah. They've succeeded.
Anyway, this is a
That's
normal
probably
trap
very
also.
Cool boss fight.
Yeah, this is another normal trap that says, if your opponent special summons a monsters from the deck or extra deck while you control a Diabell Star monster card, so Snake Eyes Diabell Star in the back row doesn't count, that's a continuous spell, except during the damage step, target a monster your opponent controls, shuffle that shit back. During the damage step, when your Diabell Star monster battles an opponent's monster, banish this card from your graveyard. That opponent's monster's attack becomes halved until the end of this turn. You can use each effect once per turn. So again, sinful spoils that are Diabell-related support. This is Diabell Star overcomes your opponent with their extra deck monsters. Anyway, it's time to do the collage of, like I said, all the plot cards that open up. So I said that the goblins would be coming back a little. There's 2 more Goblin Biker cards, 2 more spell cards that are related to their stuff they got going on. The
do wanna
first is
add that-
Goblin Biker Grand Breakout. Go ahead.
I do want to add the whole thing. Like, it feels like, again, the story still feels like the most, like, actually, not straightforward, but like the most, like, actually, like, condensed. Like, it feels like, I don't know, but it feels like the most, like, focused of, like, Yu-Gi-Oh storylines. It just feels like it's all, like, together and it's not, like, that overly complicated.
Yeah, the thing with, like, Visa Starfrost was, like, it was fairly straightforward, but also
doesn't
because
feel
it
like
was
it was
about
finished.
his fucking... Well,
It's about his way escaping
there's
karma.
also that problem. Yeah, I'll put a pin in that. But step 1, it's about a character's inner journey through, like, worlds that are reflections of his emotions and shit. So, like, naturally, that's going to be more, like, cerebral and stuff. The second is, yeah, that story isn't finished because it's literally a cyclical narrative. It's about, like,
Yeah,
the
and, like,
cycle
we get
of
to see the
creation
card
and
for the-
destruction.
Yeah, and I feel like we're supposed to. I feel like at some point they should make cards that are about like the variations in the cycle.
And they probably will, but not right now. Obviously, like, Albaz was really, really long. Diabell Star is, like, very straightforward. But this is Goblin Biker's Grand Breakout. Hey, remember Mole Goblin?
Yeah.
He's not a guy, but he's back. He's breaking in. I love this shot, by the way. Like, Diabell is clearly, like, laying down on the cot, like, either sleeping or just telling Gabonga about her sad-ass backstory, while Gabonga is fucking crying, looking at the bars.
Honestly, I wish we actually met who like the police were, because I'm actually curious who the police were, considering like the demo. Actually, wait, no, I guess whoever Diabell's was working with.
It's good they didn't show anyone from the police force, because otherwise that might have to be an archetype.
I mean, they made K9 already.
I mean, it's not that because K9 is cyberpunk, I think. But these
K9 is
guys
cyberpunk.
are like, I assume they are the cops of the underground city that like Diabell Star and the Goblin Bikers live in, and they did just have a fucking race brawl throughout the city streets into the desert.
Yeah.
So I assume they just caught up with them at the end of the chase scene. But yeah, I love Big Gabonga in this, just clutching it. You can tell he is crying through his mask. Like, just imagining him being like, "That's so sad, man."
It's like some One Piece. It'd be like One Piece crying in like the good way. This is like
yeah.
because like the Goblin Bikers are just One Piece characters, honestly.
And
think
the
of that
name of this, by the
fucking
way,
scene
is
from the Digimon movie. with
100
Davis.
Demons Grand Imprisonment. You know, Goblin Rider Daishukan. But the mole guy is like, "Boss, I came to break you out, boss." That little guy should be his own guy.
I mean, they could still make cards for this.
But this is a quick play spell card that says, and yes, they could still make cards. But just saying, like, that's the future support I want to see, is that guy on his own. Tribute a monster, especially summon a goblin monster from your deck, but it can't attack this turn. When a monster declares an attack, banish this card from your graveyard. Detach any number of materials from Goblin Xyz you control. All monsters your opponent currently controls lose 1,000 attack for each material detached until the end of this turn. You can use each effect once per turn. So yeah, no, it's a breakout. All of them one of them busts in, and then all of them escape together in a big rampage.
Woo! The parade goes on.
Well, yeah, especially because, like I said, after telling her tragic ass backstory to them, the goblins decide they're gonna help her and just get out of here. Because this is Goblin Biker Grand Crisis.
Grand Crisis. That sounds good.
Or the original Japanese version is better, but also doesn't translate. Goblin Rider Dai Pinchy. Goblin Biker Grand Pinch.
Wait, that is a Japanese phrase, yeah.
Yeah. It's something that doesn't translate, but I'm I love Dai Pinchy though. Dai Pinchy.
Also, the fucking the Civil Spoil transformed, or more, it came back to fuck them up.
Yeah, the Azamina Sol Erkthion is breaking in as the Goblin Bikers are getting ready to bust out.
I think Dia Bellstar is doing a sweat drop. I just feel like she's just like, okay, this is happening, huh?
She's just like, oh man, this shit is wild. Yeah.
Oh, Slapstick meets my nightmares. Oh no.
Yeah. So this is a
So,
Goblin
I think
Biker.
I did the breakout, and I think then I'm blanking on the thing's name again.
Which one? The
Azamina here.
Sol Erkthion. Yeah, I know. It's very Greek.
I think Erythion, I think when the breakout happened, Erythion showed right up afterwards.
Yeah, I think this is as they're getting ready to break out, Erythion busts through the walls, and Gabonga's like, hey, that's my ex. What are you doing? It's my ex.
It's like, oh no. Oh no.
One thing I appreciate though is it looks like the guy's holding his fucking drill mole. He's like, oh no, get away from that. Pick up.
Yeah. So this is a trap card that says target a goblin you control one monster your opponent controls, or target a goblin in your graveyard one your opponent controls. Banish them both. Send him to jail.
I love
You
these.
can send this face-up card. Good.
I love these silly little guys.
Yeah, I know. These are great. I'm actually trying to build... after we did the episode last week, I'm actually trying to build Goblin Biker in Master Duel. Like I said, I never wanted to try it out before, but they're just so funny little guys. I want to make it work. Unfortunately, it requires a decent amount of URs.
I mean, that's just every modern deck nowadays.
That's
They put there's
I
at
mean,
least
some
three
of them
URs
do,
that
but,
shouldn't be URs.
It's funny how they do it. Like I said, Metal Morph was really easy to build because there's 2 URs, and some of the good cards are actually a low rarity. Metal Flame Swordsman is a rare. Both the new Metal Morph traps are supers. So is Metal Zoa X. The Metal Zoa retrain is an R. The big ones that are URs is Full Metal Red Eyes Black Dragon, because it's the negate, and Metal Illusionist, which is your normal summon. But that's 2 URs, 3 or 4 SRs, because there's also the new Red Eyes Dragon Nail, and then a decent number of Ns and Rs, especially if you count old Metal Morph cards. Maybe it's because technically there was already cards like Metal Morph and Special Metal Morph. They'd already done a couple retrains. Rare Metal Morph, I think it was called. There's the Trap Time Engine. Goblin Bikers are very spread out, but yeah, this also is another effect. You can send this face-up card from your spell traps into the graveyard, target 5 of your banished goblins with different names, special summon them. So this card is that banish effect never happens, but it's so funny because like I said, you send your goblins to jail, and then they all bust out from jail. 5 of them show up. But it has to be target exactly 5, so this is one of those card effects that just never fucking happens. But
when it does,
yeah. Now we're gonna have to get a little creative, chat, because we're getting ready for the final fight. So our boys and gals show up to the final conclusion. They're ready to rock. They're gonna fight it out. How are we gonna fight it out? Well, first we've got Dia Bellstar Vengeance. Her name in the original OCG is Dia Bellstar the Sin Adjudicator. Dia Bellstar
Honestly,
Vengeance, I think works.
I feel like they should have done the Judge of Vengeance or something.
But I think just vengeance works. So if you don't know what's happening here, chat, this is Diabell
She's
Star,
done
but
sin-
she is merging with both of her sinful spoils.
One moment. I need to grab an image to show you because I feel like it has the same energy here.
Does it involve the phrase devil trigger?
Yes, but more. I'm thinking Sin Devil Trigger.
I mean, she is called the Sin Adjudicator, so it's entirely possible that is what is intended. But yeah, no, a lot of people made that joke when this card was previewed.
Like here.
Yep.
Yeah, the one from DMC5. Yeah, no, it's definitely those vibes.
Sin DT, yeah. Sin, yeah it
So
really is
like,
Sin DT,
it's one of those things where like she's kind of like, you might think she's kind of dragonic, but no. First of all, she's a fiend, so this monster is demonic.
She's got demonic, and like there's even like the fucking like roots in her, or more like the sap, like her.
Because she's
in her too.
merging with them. Because she's got like her hair now has like the green highlights, but she has like the wolf claws from Silvera. She has like the wings and stuff. Like she's using all her powers together. She even has like black sclera, which is cool. Love that shit. This is great.
It's probably like a Sin trigger, but it's still like this is the big super mode.
Yeah. Diabell Star Vengeance is a Dark Fiend level 8, 2,500 attack, but 2,100 defense. You know, big out there. I will say, I do kind of feel like the TCG, if they're going with Diabell Star Vengeance, kind of fucked up the mirroring here, because we have two super modes, right? We have Diabell Star and Diabell's. Diabell's super mode is White Witch Diabell's, which mirrors Diabell Star the Black Witch. This is supposed to be opposite Diabell's the Sin Keeper, so Sin Adjudicator. But they've
Honestly,
gone with Vengeance.
What they could have done is like they could have gone with Diabell the Black Judge.
But she is, like I said, Dark Fiend, level 8. First of all, much like Queen Azumina, this card is always treated as a Sinful Spoils.
Mm-hmm.
You can banish one spell and one trap from your hand or graveyard. Special summon this card from your hand or graveyard. Quick effect. Pay half your LP, target a card your opponent controls, destroy it. If another Diabell monster card is on the field, special summon a Tuner Synchro Illusion or Spellcaster from your extra deck. You can use each effect once per turn.
Honestly, I think that would be Poplar with White Forest.
Yeah, probably
I forget,
Poplar.
is this card a Master Duel?
No, this is not a Master Duel yet.
Okay.
This card is probably their next selection pack. They'll release it.
Yeah, this doesn't get an animation, that's criminal.
This has to. This is the big conclusion.
Secondly,
regular Diabell Star and regular Diabell's both got one. What's up?
True. For all the Monster Hunter fans watching this still currently at the moment, anyone else get mad Bloodbath Diablos vibes from this?
I mean, that's another one
Nope,
that
just me.
could be.
I mean, it's I don't know if they tell us that what's in our mind.
Nah.
Chat's not really being super chatty tonight.
That's alright. I can't blame them for being sleepy or tired. I woke up only just recently.
Yeah, I can see the Diablos vibes there. Yeah, just like just the danger instinct there.
So here's the enhanced form of our other fun lady.
Ha! Fuck you, Architect! Eat
Got him.
shit and die!
That's a bit mean.
We're
Let me
having
have
fun
this.
here. So this is Diabell's the White Witch. Literally, much like how Diabell Star was Koromajo Diabell Star,
Wait, hold on, I'll be right back.
Shiromajo Diaberuzu. So this is Diabell's super mode. She's ditched her long coat. She is
You can see the thorns still in her body, like by her cleavage.
Yeah, she's still got some thorn stuff going on, but also she's doing different things. She's drawing magical triangles like her mentor.
Yeah, she's
got
basically
that gold purple shit going on.
God, it's like I don't know why, but I could image some line about like I was always
my teacher's best student or something like that. Like there was always like some level of arrogance in there of being like
she's got a cool hairstyle. She's turned
really
her Ghost
doing the
Dragon into
hand.
a hat.
She's got the hand. She has the hand that
Yeah,
is like her mentor
and it's got the same
on
black,
both sides.
purple, black side, but it's instead of being like white inside or black inside, it's purple and gold.
She's suddenly got a ponytail.
Yeah.
I thought this was her being taken over, but no, I think this is literally her in body. I think she killed the Azamina of her mentor too.
No, you eat shit and die, motherfucker.
The war continues.
Yeah,
okay.
because I popped over to.
Yeah, no. In case you didn't figure that out, Axe, when Loth said "I'll be right back," I know he went to Crow General, and
I just didn't.
I was
because
curious
I
what he would be doing.
Yeah, it's like, I didn't know he'd start shit again, but okay.
What is this?
I saw-
Did you show up and
gone.
shout "fail gang"?
No, I showed up and said exactly what I said earlier in stream to Architect to his face.
Yeah.
In
Well, and
voice
Lucky
chat.
popped back over there. Anyway, no, you are
Yeah.
correct. Like this is Diabell's revealing that like no.
I've been waiting to kill you to get.
I'm on this
for
side.
my master.
So
This is
I
like
get
Diabell.
it. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Just pulling Eugene, honestly. Yeah.
Mm. Did they censor this art in the
Well,
TCG?
this card hasn't come out in the TCG, so don't know.
Yeah, because that's a
Probably.
very obvious boot window.
I will
Yeah.
say the boot window is gonna matter because especially you're kind of actually see the thorn still in her body. But yeah.
Yeah, they're probably gonna cover it up with some stuff. Anyway, Light Illusion level 8. You know, we both come level 8s. 2,500 attack, 2,100 defense. This card is always treated as a White Forest card. So now she is a Light
Yay.
Illusion in White Forest.
It's like she can't
Monsters.
escape.
Yeah. But also,
Again,
I think
I
it's
think-
symbolic of her fallen friends, I think.
Actually,
Monsters you control
quick question.
can't be destroyed by your opponent's card effects while you control 2 or more Diabells.
The way
Yeah.
did she absorb? What was the name of the Slaughter Saint?
Moa Regina? Maybe.
Do you think she absorbed over Regina? It feels like that from like the
She could
feathers,
be
the end of
using
her
it.
tips.
Yeah, she's got some of the feathery vibes as well. Also, I do want to say I like her eyes now do have that red glow back, but like they're back to being pure blue.
This is her revenge.
But also, I want to say, in case you can't figure it out, yeah, this is supposed to be the girlies team up. Diabell's has an effect when you control two or more Diabell monsters. Diabell's Star Vengeance lets you work with multiple Diabells. It's a whole thing. You're supposed to summon them both together.
This is to me. This is just. This is the Dante and Virgil moment where they go kill the giant monster.
You can use each of the following effects once per turn. Send a spell trap from your hand or field to graveyard. Special summon this card from your hand. So it's like regular Diabell Star, but also a White Forest effect. If this card's normal or special summoned, send a Sinful Spoils or Diabell card from your deck to the graveyard. Foolish Burial Goods. So, you know, both of them teamed up super big, ready to rock. But you've mentioned a card before, Axe. So something's going on. Our good friend. Oh, interesting. Let me see if I can. There's not like a big version of this in the gallery. No, it's got a redirect. Okay. So let me see if I can get the card art for Poplar of White Forest.
Yeah, I keep looking at it, being like, I think that's just like the original form of it, or now that it's been like the forest is taking it back, and so it's like part of the. I don't know.
Well, remember that the I think actually similar to Solar Ichthion, Flamber's Dragon may have been an Azamina with its Sinful Spoil still, like its body and its Sinful Spoil.
Oh yeah, true. And then I think Execution Dragon might, or at least that's the name it might have. Or I think that might. I think that's just D-Bell start doing what you do with Flamberge, but doing it again.
This is small. Let me double this and keep looking. This one is a tough search because they've only just recently revealed its translated name is going to be Poplar of White Forest. Its literal
makes
name in the
sense.
OCG is Mystic Mystery, but I'm pretty sure that's a pun.
I don't
Like-
get it.
What I mean is like they have like the overlaying of the names, but yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, it's Poplar, but he's white now. But also, note how instead of the Snake Eye type eyeball thing, it's got, this is, obviously this scan is bad, but...
It's got the Diabell's colors.
Yeah, it's got Diabell's colors and her sigil in its eyeball. So, like, this is, we're trying to put the energy back into something. But yeah, this is a light illusion synchro tuner 4 with 700 attack and 2000 defense. So 700, same as Poplar. It's completely generic. If this card's special summoned, target 2 white forests in your graveyard, place them face up in their owner's spell trap zone as continuous spells. During your main phase, you can, quick effect, after this effect resolves, synchro summon using this card you control. You can use each effect once per turn. So this is a another tuner that's a level 4, but it's a synchro tuner. So it lets you do some stuff there. It has the ability to synchro on your opponent's turn, which is useful for various things, and also lets you set up white forest cards, presumably after you use them, to kind of like bridge everything together. It's another, you know, good utility piece. But as you did mention, there's also another big guy. This is the name they're putting forward for this, because it was Jaga no Danzai Ryu, Snake Eyes Sin Adjudicator Dragon, but also Executor Dragon, or Execute Dragon, will become Snake Eyes Vengeance Dragon. But let me see if I can once again find a... We got a big-ass promo. It doesn't look like it. So we must hunt. Yeah, here's a good quality art copy. So this is like, I think, again, we may see this in some of the other card art, but I'm basically interpreting this card as Vengeance Diabell gets Poplar back and just decides to use the third Sinful Spoil to just go all the way and transforms into a giant fuck you dragon.
I mean, she's already going like the weird vampiric wolf pseudo dragon form, so why not just go the whole way?
Yeah. So...
And you can see its power like overriding the thorns, or like overriding the thistles by
burning them away. Yeah, and then we're gonna breathe big. But it's like Flamberge, or Doom Dragon, but with
parts of vengeance.
What you call it? It's got Diabell's color scheme. I was gonna say.
I guess she actually just fused with it, so I guess it's her mixed. It's vengeance mixed with Flamberge, and so yeah, I get this.
So, this is a Fire Dragon Synchro, level 12. 3,000 attack, 2,500 defense, so Flamberge stats. And you may be thinking, oh, why is it a 12 then? It's because...
Poplar and Diabell are 4 and 8.
Yeah. But also, in general, White Forests are 4-axis, so you 6, you tune into an 8. So
yeah.
You could also make this by synchroing out Diabell. The Diabell synchro, because she's not a synchro tuner, and Poplar.
I have the mental image of, like, you know, they form into this big dragon, but the snake eye itself is, like, independent. He's like, what the fuck is happening? I went to sleep for, like, a day.
So, this is completely generic Sync 12. During the main phase, quick effect. Target a face-up monster on the field or in either graveyard. Put it in the back row. It's back, baby.
Yep.
But also, this card can't use that effect next turn. So it's a quick effect, but you can't use it every turn, only every other turn. During the battle phase, quick effect. Target 1 monster and 1 continuous spell in the field. Destroy them. You can use each effect once per turn. So it's just a big asshole that places monsters in the back row, and also, during the battle phase, lets you pop cards as a quick effect. It's a Snake Eyes, you know... synchro monster. Don't know how much play it's gonna get, but it's still important. Oh, actually, no, I did not put that in there. Sorry, I realized there was a card that we missed here. But of course, our big scary boss has a final version. which is funny because she's lost the name Saint. But, God, sorry. I see this. I see the image I want, but it is not just an image link. All right. You're killing me, Smalls. Sorry, I'm trying to find the card art for the card that is just called Azamina. So, the world's most ungoogleable card.
Ah, shit. Okay, yeah.
Because she's not even called Saint Azamina anymore. And like I said, the annoying thing is that like I can see the little thumbnail of a card art, but it's like tiny. Yeah, that's like the static. But where's the like big version of this? But if I click it, it's just a fucking link. Wikis and stuff. Alright, we'll just have to show the card itself.
This is some final boss. This is truly some final boss shit. Like, holy hell.
Yeah, no. So, pretty important things here. This is just Azamina. I'll zoom in a little. This card name's just Azamina.
It's her true power.
So she's got the illusion eye, but she's like integrated with the thorns that are golden now. She still has the Azamina fruit in her hands. Now, chat, you may notice to yourself, oh, there's some weird little jewel things right there. Guess what? Morganites. They were Morganites the whole time, chat. There's a red one, a blue one, a purple one, a green one.
So the true form of it all are the Morganites?
No, I think they're just important. Because Azamina here, I think that
He's finally ascended,
Morgana,
I think.
Witch of Eyes, had like a scale thing behind her. So notice how she's made of scales. Because they're like scales weighing, and the Morganites are on the side with the weight, more weight.
Also, I think might be the reason how like way she is probably due to her special summoning conditions.
Well, yeah. So this card's name is literally written as Azamina, but is also can be written as Atonement Goddess. This is obviously her true final boss form. You know, she's light. She's a light illusion 12. She's 4K, 4K. Her materials are Queen Azamina and one fusion or synchro monster. Must either be fusion summoned or special summoned from your extra deck by attributing a Saint Azamina you control and one monster your opponent controls.
Funny thing, it means that she couldn't eat Diabells. So I'm not sure who she ate to become this.
Well, I think it's
probably
just kind of
used
all
the
the
last
power
of her
coming
energy.
together.
Yeah.
Can't be destroyed by card effects. Each time your opponent activates a card or effect, all monsters they control lose 500 attack. Your opponent cannot activate the effects of monster with 0 attack. So she's a really weird floodgate. Obviously, she's an Azamina card, so you have a lot of easy ways to summon her out. She can't be destroyed, and every time your opponent activates an effect, she basically has a passive condition to reduce their attack, and when they become zeroed out, they can't activate. So it's a very weird floodgate. Like, it's a skill drain, technically, but in a really weird way where, like, if your opponent can just,
Literally just putting their heads up like, stop fighting.
She has the Crown of Thorns too.
yeah. But that is kind of like our apex here, and I brought this up because we are in kind of our, like I said, our last...
I don't think there's a battle. I don't think there's an image of the final battle or something.
Kind of. There's a couple. So, first, technically, this card is subtitled, but I will explain what it is. Let's talk about... yeah, that is that big. Philia Diabel. So, basically, I think at the moment of Azamina Aphez, where, like, she's become Saint Azamina and is like talking to Diabelle's like, "Hey girl, you done great for me, but I need you to do something more." Diabelle Star is gonna jump in and be like, "Hey, hands off." Note that her Sylvie Sinful Spoil is protecting Diabelle's.
Yeah, because she's still Elzet to them.
Yeah. But she's like, fighting off Azamina. She's cut off one of her weird spooky hands. Crazy Beast is here taking a nap.
Yep,
And presumably
there
there is
he
a goblin down there.
I think that was her ride here.
Yeah. And this card is called, as you can see from the subtitle, it's the promo image we picked up off the internet, got here, is Filia Diabelle, which is, again, very simple. Filia as in family, brothers and sisters. So you might also call it,
Diabelle Sisters.
Yeah. Add a level 8 or higher Diabelle monster from your deck to your hand. Or, if your only opponent controls a monster, special summon it instead. If this card's banished, make all Diabelle monsters you currently control gain 500 attack. You can only use each effect once per turn.
So that
this is...
that's Diabelle's. So that's Diabelle. Both forms of Diabelle's. I think that's also Vengeance, and then I think Sinful Spoils Diabelle's. Or...
that
Eyes,
is Snake Eyes Diabelle Star.
Snake Eyes Diabelle Sisters, yeah.
And then the two extra forms. And I think what we can tell from the card art is this is obviously the trigger where Diabelle Star shows up to punch Azamina, and this is when she decides to go Sin Adjudicator mode.
Yeah. This is the moment before the big reveal.
And then Diabelle feels the need to do her part too. The Ghost White Witch.
I will not be upstaged by you.
And
There is that kind. I think there is that kind of pettiness, at least, to Diabelle. The Diabelles.
we do have again, kind of crummy, but we have a scan. This next card is another Diabelle. It's called Curse of Diabelle. And I think you said before you're not sure we have card art of the final battle. We kind of do, because there's a lot of pink fire, which means that's Diabelle Star's magic. So this is presumably Diabelle Star turns into a giant dragon and just fucks Azamina's shit up.
It makes me think of like a FF16 battle sequence where you just do the fucking limit break on the boss.
Yeah. So Curse of Diabelle is a trap card. Which just says, if you control 2 or more Diabelles, send a monster you control to the graveyard, destroy all face-up cards your opponent controls. If this card's sent to the graveyard, banished from the hand, or banished from the hand or deck, add a Diabelle spell trap from your deck to hand, except Curse of Diabelle. So, again, this is, if you control 2 Diabelles, they do a wombo combo, they defeat. Destroy all face-up cards your opponent controls.
This is a crazy 3 days. This is a crazy 3 days for this girl.
Yeah.
Maybe like 2 days.
Man, shit's rough. Dude, it's only Tuesday.
Honestly, yeah.
Yes.
That is the funniest part, honestly, when you think about it. All this shit happening in just like 3 or so days. It's like, oh god.
3 or less days, yeah.
It's a pretty compact story, yeah.
Again, I think you could do it in like an hour or 2 long movie and just cut it through the whole
to
thing.
be fair, it's more compact and understandable than whatever the fucking timescale was in Albaz.
That one did take a while, yeah. Okay.
I mean, that was like, that had a linear story, but it was just like, there was just a lot of like background details that were just not coherently there.
So this card is called, in the OCG anyway.
I'm sorry.
You can say, this card is called Sinless Sinful Spoils. Or in the TCG will be called Sinful Spoils Sanctification.
Oh, come on. Sinless Sinful Spoils is...
Dark Souls got full of light.
Yeah.
Okay, yes, looking at this, I do think Diabelle normally was like...
Something, yeah. Like, she was a person that Azamina took over. Though she is still mostly tree. But basically, this is like...
I think she was the guardian spirit of the forest.
Astellar is, like, laying everyone to rest. This is, the ghosts of her friends and past, and she's just like, all right, cool.
And I think the purple is like somewhat fading from Diabelle's. Like it's a lighter shade
Yeah.
now.
Some of that might just be that this is really washed out, but it is at least being presented as a lighter shade.
And I think, like,
This
the
is
corruption
a
streaming.
continuous trap card as well that says activate one of these effects. Target a Diabelle monster in your graveyard or banishment. Discard a card. Special summon it. Target a face-up monster card in your spell and trap zone. Special summon it. You can only use each effect once per turn. This is a great card that just kind of like is good for any of the associated sinful spoils archetypes. Just lets you summon guys.
Just quickly, because as we know, I missed that part at the beginning. Is that Diabelle's just right there at the right, or is that someone else I'm not
Oh, that's-
remembering?
Diabelle's is beneath.
On the
Star
right
now.
side? No, that's probably... I don't
That's
know exactly
Diabelle
whose
and the
costume
Silvera?
that is, but that's... On the rightmost side, I think that's Rusia, because she's got the puffy
Okay.
sleeves.
I thought
thank
it
you.
was just on the left actually.
I mean, it might... Yeah, actually, no. That might be Silvera, yeah, on the right then, with her long hair.
It's
She
Silvera,
doesn't-
and it's
she
Diabelle.
doesn't have her iconic wolf hat.
Oh, she doesn't.
No.
I thought those were Eve.
No. You,
No, but I
you missed the card art blown up. Sylvie/Silvera is wearing a hat
Oh, okay.
that looks
She
like
was
wolf
like
ears.
super into wolves.
And
But,
then
The short
sorry,
hair
is that
then
the
would
one
be
in the middle that
Rusiela.
becomes the mask? Or am I just misremembering?
No.
Yeah. I don't know
Don't
what we're talking
ignore
about yet.
me, since I missed out on the lore.
No, I'm interested that there isn't actually Morganite or Morgan's around because technically Diabelle's killed her, so I'm curious that she's not here either. But I guess maybe they just didn't have that part figured out yet, though she did kill her.
Yeah, I don't know for sure.
Even
I
if
mentioned
Death's
I
still
mentioned
in
last time that it was something they added way later. But I was like, when they initially did White Forest, they didn't have a field spell. They do have a field spell now that's about to come out, but it's one of those things of like they did not do it for a long time, and unfortunately, there's, as usual, no good blow up for this card art. I cry every time. Let's
It's
see.
a nice
Yeah,
self-contained story. I would enjoy it as a different medium as well. So
but yeah, this is despite being called a field spell, this is literally Shirokimori no Majo, Witch of the White Forest, or I believe they're going to translate it as Witches of the White Forest. So this is the White Forest. There's a big white tree. It has kind of the same color plane, so I kind of assume these are trees to mark kind of the graves of everybody. And then there's a weird little creature in there. Who's that little guy? What's he or she doing?
Is that
It's
just
Poplar.
I mean, yes, but
Without?
yeah, it doesn't
Yeah,
look like it has the
also
snake
all
eye.
the fruits. Also, all the fruits are green now.
Yeah, they're not all sinfulified. So this is a field spell, like I said. When this card's activated, add a White Forest monster from your deck to your hand, but you can't special dark monsters from the extra deck for the rest of this turn. The first time a White Forest monster you control will be destroyed by battle each turn. It isn't. Target White Forest monster you control, it's treated as a tuner. This is basically how you make Poplar of White Forest, because there's no way in a deck of twos and fours to make a... Well, where the twos are non-tuners to make a sync 4. You can use this effect once per turn. You can only activate one Witch of the White Forest per turn. Gonna be honest, don't know how good this card is. It does add a White Forest from your deck to your hand, which is nice if you're missing out on a starter, but you have other ways to do that. And it means that you can't play the Azaminas. Like, you can't summon them. You can summon Goddess Azamina, but you can't summon any of the others. So I think that fucks with some of your combo lines. But obviously, I do think that, like, what this supposed is to represent is kind of like we're free of the corruption of the Azamina and the demons, so, you know, we can stand on our own. But now let's go ahead and go back a little. To DML Star. And let me see if I can find her alt art. Okay. This is a sample version, but it has it at very high quality, so you can see what's going on. So this is the alt art released in the Quarter Century Stampede for Dia Bellstar, the Black Witch. So you can tell that she's kind of gone back to being more Astellar-like. You know,
It looks like she's just like in the city now. She's just living in the city as a big witch lady.
The big thing she has, the storybook looking thing, is like obviously that's her, because it's square. That's her stage for shadow puppets. She's got a big hat. She's got her monocle back. She doesn't have her sinless spoils on her. But
And
also,
then she tells her own story.
she tells her own story. She's got her little magic thing. But also, notice there's this evil little cat with her.
Yeah.
You like unzoom the art out so I can see the cat more.
Oh, sorry. Is the OBS framing not doing good on
Yeah,
it?
it was cutting out most of the cards when you made them like the whole screen.
No, that's not good. I have to shrink it a little then.
Shrink it a little bit, like a little, because it's like.
Yeah, we'll do like 90%. Yeah, the OBS is punched in a little.
The fact that she does her own little puppet or shadow shows just reminds me of the fucking.
Raise it up a little.
What was it the beginning of not Wind Waker, the other one, Phantom Hourglass, where just the one pirate is like, so anyway, here's what happened last time.
Yeah, it's a little hard to see the cat because, like I said, this is the sample they posted on Twitter, but this card literally just came out, so there's not. I'm sure that this card will not show up in Master Duel until like. Well, actually, maybe they'll like.
Maybe they make
when
it.
they
Maybe
release
they
the new cards,
deck.
they'll release it to go with like the. I mean, no, they're gonna do what they do with everything, which is this is a cool alt art that people want. They're gonna use it in a structured secret pack only.
Yeah. Just like
they did for the Nightmare and Eldritch and the Live Twin alt arts, or Evil Twin alt arts.
and IP.
Oh yeah, the IP one, yeah. They might do that soon when they do like a new pack to release the new Dia Bell cards, but also it could be like in a year from now. But yeah, this is clearly like Dia Bellstar a little older, a little more put together. She's kind of got her outfit borrowing elements from all of her friends.
I really wish. I really wanted the Dia Bell's alt art because I want to see what she's doing. But that's because I've always liked her too much.
Well, I mean, I want to say what Dia Bells is doing, I think, is pretending to be a cat.
Yeah, look at the cat.
Because there's that, like I said, that evil ass cat that's a blonde and purple cat with Dia Bell's blue eyes. Like Dia Bell's is pretending to be a cat right now.
That's fair. I just always liked her coat.
Oh no, like her
She's
outfit is
literally
good.
just like, it's probably just like fuck everything. I'm just gonna go chill and relax. I don't want to worry about shit.
Like
she's a witch,
some
yeah.
people, I think, were kind of like confused, and they're like, "Oh, like does that mean that like Elzette like died or like was forced to transform into a cat?" No, I don't think so. I think she just chooses to be a cat because like she looks alive. She's not a ghost in Sinless Sinful Spoils. I think that just that like remember how like Dia Bellstar was a wanted criminal? Dia Bell's literally worked for demons, so like she probably doesn't have a great resume, you know?
Honestly, I think it's also a thing of probably because I don't think they were going to make a secondary alt art, so they was like, let's put away so both characters are acknowledged.
Yeah.
That feels like
And
what they were
also,
going
yes, chat brought this up a while ago, but the big Snake Eyes dragon is the synchro one is a Crimson Dragon target. Not really
Also-
useful, but very funny.
I haven't thought about it, but honestly, they could do the fucking Sabrina and like Salem, or just like a witch and her cat narration duo for like the whole series. Is like it's narrated, reverse. So it's like it starts with the puppet show, and then the two are basically bantering each other as the narration to the whole story.
Arguing about whose idea it was.
I mean, it would
But-
work. It also works as a way to like frame the story and also explain why there's some points that are just cut around. Also explains why you'd also get to see the Elzette parts.
Really, this fucking. Sorry, I'm disappointed in people who make like edits of Yu-Gi-Oh cards to like figure stuff out. You don't want to. Nobody wants to redraw Morgana Witch of Fate. Big, hot woman. Does everybody just wait for fucking the Master Duel full size? me see if there's like a promo. Okay, no. Right, actually. This makes sense, because I just realized. That's why. This card's not even out in the OCG. They just previewed this. But we'll show it anyway. So people at home should be able to recognize this woman, who I will enlarge. Not that we really need to do that, because she's plenty large already, if you know what I'm saying. But yes, this is clearly the woman that Elzette was fighting from the front. She's got the long purple nails. She has 3 weird rocks. She has a weird blue ghost bird with her, and she's got the hat.
She's got the pipe.
Yeah, she's got her odd pipe or scale thing. But yeah, no, everybody was like, baddie, great. No.
Yeah,
I feel like with her eye covering, this woman is very like Dark Souls or Demon Souls core.
Demon Souls, considering that
With like she's got the covered eyes, and she also has like a weird witch hat.
and that makes me wonder if it's like, I guess less that Debo might have still been their master, but she got taken over by the Azamina.
Yeah.
Sorry, you said like Demon Souls. I immediately had to check. She's wearing shoes. She can't be the maiden in black.
No, but she has the mask.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, I also think that
the
like,
Ash.
is Yuria the original witch lady in Demon Souls? That's
Yuria the
another
Black
character
Witch?
that's been occurring. Yes. Like I said,
Or the Woman in Black?
she's
Yeah.
also got some vibes like Yuria, because like I said, she's got like a weird hat and like
I
darkly
honestly
appointed clothes.
I also think of the Firekeeper from 3.
Yeah. Though I also want to say that, like, obviously, I think there's that one Ashen card who's wearing a blindfold who is just literally just the Firekeeper, but that's
It'd be funny
because
if it's the
somebody
same-
decided to
if
make
it's-
Dark Souls Pompeii.
I mean, that'd be funny if that was also the same world, so that Justina and the Ashen were the same world as the fucking Diabel.
So this is Morgana, Witch of Eyes, Hitomi no Maju Morgana. A dark spellcaster level 4 with 1500 attack and 2100 defense, always treated as a Morganite card. We'll talk about the actual Morganites in a second, but I figured we'd show this because this explains how they're connected. The Morganite card arts are cool, but they're just weird rocks with hands, so you're not going to understand how they're linked. And I do want to bring up, a lot of people are saying, like, oh, this must be their teacher. I do not actually know that for sure, because
No,
of, like, the way Tails is. This is
I
a
also
dark
think Diabel was a
spellcaster,
teacher.
so I think Azamina / Diabel may have just put out a hit on Morgana and had Elzette do it, which is also still super fucked up.
And then
to steal
also,
the Morganites.
Elza, I think, then Secret learned her magic to kill Azamina.
So, always treated as a Morganite card. By the way, Morganite is a real-life gemstone. It's a type of beryl, I think, which comes in a couple colors. But when an opponent's monster declares an attack, you can banish a Morganite from your graveyard, negate that attack. You can only use each of the following effects once per turn. If this card's normal or special, add a Morganite spell from your deck to hand. If you have 3 more Morganite spells with different names in your graveyard and/or banishment, you can change the attack of all face-up monsters your opponent controls to 0. Now, you may be wondering, chat, oh, there's only 3 Morganites. Why does this say 3 or more? Well, remember how in the artwork of Atonement Goddess Azamina, there were 4 colors of rock. Notice how Witch of Eyes only has purple rock, red rock, green rock. There's a blue rock out there. They haven't printed the blue rock yet, but the blue rock is coming.
Also, it's I think right now it's taking the form of the bird, or it just doesn't exist until Azamina made it again.
Yeah. So the main thing though with the Morganites is, we'll go in reverse order and start with Time Tearing, the original. So much like the original Sinful Spoil cards, like Sinful Spoils of Subversion just kind of came out, you know. They've just been releasing these cards. Which, by the way, I also think there's a reason why Morgana's blindfolded and she's called the Witch of Eyes. The Morganites in the OCG have that double-layered thing, so they are both Morganites, but also
stones.
magical eye. Yeah.
They're eye
So-
stones, yeah.
Which means they are chuny as fuck because they are magical eyes that are also gemstones.
It's also very Dark Souls. It's very fucking FromSoft as hell.
Yeah.
Like not even
Which
just
is-
Dark Souls, but also like Dark Tower or like Kingsfield shit.
Which is also, like, honestly, very funny because, like we said, the Sinful Spoils lore is very, like, DMC or Bayonetta core, but they just decided to, like, make them like related to this archetype later. So this
So
is the
meanwhile,
original.
while there's demons and shit running around, here's a bunch of rocks.
Honestly, I feel like it's more of like, so here's the background Souls lore thing of like entirely tangential to this, but this is also just part of the setting kind of thing.
So, this is the original time-tearing Morganite. It shows 2 different hands reaching out for the stone. Note the stone's color is purple and black, which was, as seen in the Diabel card. Feed the Diabel was or play the Diabel, whichever one it was. The verbs confuse me. That was Morgana's magic, though. Neither of these hands, I think, belong to anybody who's actually in our story. They're just symbolic.
There.
So the Morganite cards all do something that applies a dual-long effect to you. Obviously, because you can only activate them, like, you can only apply the effect once. They also have graveyard effects. So Time Tearing is the original, and it first of all of them lock you out of monster effects in hand, so you can't use hand traps or combo pieces. But Time Tearing says... Go ahead.
It's a big cost, so I think it makes it fair of being like, lets the other effects just be like kind of bullshit, and I think that's fair.
Yes. They do kind of like give you some real game changers. So Time Tearing, draw 2 cards instead of 1 for your normal draw during your draw phase. Conduct 2 normal summons or sets per turn, not just 1. Note that doesn't say you only gain this effect once, so if you have an effect that lets you get an extra normal summon, you can still do that after as well. And also, all of them have a graveyard effect, which is you can banish this card from your graveyard. Good.
Does this negate being able to special summon monsters from hand?
Not if they're inherent special summons. If they are activated effects, you cannot activate them. But if it's something like Cyber Dragon, which just says if your opponent controls a monster, you can special summon this, that still works. But also, you can banish this card from your graveyard, discard a Time Tearing Morganite. Your opponent cannot activate monster effects when you normal summon this turn. So Time Tearing, classic in a lot of stall decks. Like immediately, people tried to make this work in like Exodia variants because it lets you draw 2, but you also get to double normal. I saw Hardleg play the hell out of this in his ladder climb with Paleo, which wasn't even Paleo Exodia. He just played it in Paleo because I don't need monster effects in hand. I'm literally not playing monsters. You know.
Give me more cards. Give me draw.
Just give me more draw power. And then the next one, which I think is also very interesting, Succumbing Song, which is they did change this a little. This is Death Exalting Morganite in the OCG. It's the red one. And this one just got like skeleton hands. But it is the Death Exalting, so I guess it makes sense. This one's effect is... you can't activate monster effects in hand, but monsters you control make 2 attacks each battle phase on monsters. Not double direct attacks, but 2 monster attacks. If your monster battles an opponent's monster, battle damage you inflict to your opponent is doubled. You can banish this card from your graveyard, add a Morganite from your deck to your hand, then place 1 card from your hand at the bottom of your deck. So, not, I think, as revolutionary as Time Tearing, but there's room for this in certain OTK decks to be played. And then the last one we have is also not yet out. But, again, let me hunt to see what we can get. Sorry.
Careful.
We'll use this Korean translation. Well, no, it's too big. Hold on, it's way too big. It's like 2,000 pixels. What's this one? That's too small.
They're very cracked bones.
Yeah, these very cracked hands. I kind of wish I knew like what the size was on some of these, but yeah, like I said, it was very big. No, it's way too small. How big is the? Okay, we'll just. It says sample on it, but we'll just grab the one from like the OCG's official preview. This one is the green one. Guilt Gripping Morganite. Also, funnily enough, called Sin Bearing Morganite in the OCG, but the TCG will probably call it, like we said, Guilt Gripping or something, because they've been kind of like mixing this out. So this one is interesting because it looks like that's Morgana's hand and that's Elzet's Ghost Hands.
Yeah, the guilt, yeah.
So, like, makes sense. This one's effect is you can normal summon level 5 or higher without tributing. You don't need to pay LP to activate spell trap effects. So, interesting note, this doesn't double anything. This just changes the fucking rules.
If you do this to the other I mean, you could do. I assume you could apply all Morganite effects at the same time, right?
Yes.
So if you do that, are you just playing? You're just playing junior rules again, or you just can summon a level 12 and a level 10 and just kind of call it there. Keep going from there.
I mean, this is more advanced than...
I mean, yes, but you also want to play...
you can get a double normal summon if you play all of them.
Yeah.
This is a card that's really interesting. First of all, we're getting new Monarchs. This is probably going to go Brazian Monarch because Monarchs do not have a lot of hand effects. And
but you need to have them tribute summon, so it's awkward in that regard. But yeah.
I mean, you can still set it up though because like they have various levels of support. The other thing is they don't need to pay LP to activate spell trap cards effect. I don't know what deck that goes in, but I'm sure that's going to be annoying.
I would like to have a psychic because I have some psychic. Honestly, here's a weird thing.
But then you lose.
There is a level 6 psychic dude that special summons 2 things from deck, but you have to normal summon him. And he can't be special.
What's his face? Yeah, Psychic Jumper? Is it Jumper?
No, something else.
I know the guy you're thinking of, but I can't think of his name. That might actually be relevant because psychics are like generic psychic decks are coming back. Like they're releasing a lot of support for that.
I love
so normal summoning that guy without tributing and then not paying to activate spell
Overdrive
traps.
Teleporter.
Overdrive Teleporter. Ooh, and well, I think it's let me search teleport spell traps, but teleport is a theme keyword now. Like that's searchable.
Oh, but yeah, just here. Basically, you can pay 2,000 life points to special summon 2 level 3 psychic monsters from your deck.
So you would still have to pay the 2K because
that's not
it's a
once per turn.
monster.
You could just keep doing that. You can do that twice without having to pay cost.
Yeah.
And you can special.
No, you have to pay cost because he's not a speller trap.
Okay. Well,
It's pay LP specifically for...
You can still just normal summon him.
Yeah, no. And there are cards like Psychokinesis and other things that like.
There's also you can do the side battery where basically it makes it where you bank all of the cost you do, and then if you break it, and now you don't pay the cost for that as a penalty. Right.
Well, I think that's effect damage, not cost.
Oh, okay, fair. Never mind.
But still, I think there are spots for this, but this one's a little loosey-goosey. Its banish effect is banish this card from your graveyard, reveal a Morganite. Place the revealed card on the bottom of the deck, then draw a card. Basically, if you have extra Morganites, you can cycle them back. But like I said, there should be one more. There should be a blue one. I'm going to be honest. I do not fucking know what the fourth one will be. We've already got permanent double summon, permanent draw 2, double attacks on monsters and double battle damage. We've got don't pay for spell traps, and the tribute rule doesn't exist. Like, I'm trying to imagine, like, what restrictions. Maybe, you can activate... They can't do it, though, but, like, the only thing I can think of is, like, you can activate traps the turn they're set. But that doesn't, like, work. Because that would probably break the game if that was, like, a generic rule you could apply on a searchable card. So, like, I don't know what they can do. But they're probably going to do it because, like I said, they've connected this to the lore, and they revealed we have one more in us. So, like, it's an interesting one. But like I said, these Guilt Gripping and Morgana, Witch of Eyes, are, like, literally from the upcoming set in the OCG. They're not even out yet, which is why, like, the finding card arts is super hard. That's the Duelist Advanced set, which has new Lunalights. Fuck yeah. Got some new Automatopoeias. That's got all the psychic stuff we talked about. The new Archmegias. Fucking Leo Wizard. Angry Burger, which is real, by the way. The Angry Burger is real.
At long last.
Some more Primite shit.
And then we can get the Hangry Burger.
Maybe someday. That's going to have that new Sky Striker card I mentioned, Sky Striker Ace equals 0. Oh, yeah, that's going to be the Water Gaia, the rank 6 Gaia Stream. Teleports, Primites. The new Nouvelle, the extra Nouvelle, sorry. That's going to have the new Super Quant stuff. New Vanquish Souls and shit. Like, just... Honestly, gonna be a real cool set, because that's, like, the Monarch stuff I literally mentioned is in that as well. Actually, so we know basically everything. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's, like, 6 names not yet revealed in the set in the OCG. One of those is a Link monster, it looks like. It's between 2 Link monsters. One of them is either a Synchro or a Xyz. One of them is a monster. And then we've got some spells. And traps, maybe. And I think the 80th card is like a... That's usually a specific card art. But yeah, thank you for joining us. We went a little long. For like 3.5 hours, but that's Diabell Star. We did actually get through all of it in 2 streams, because as X has mentioned, it is a pretty focused series of themes. Like, it's only 4 actual themes: Snake Eyes.
It's also only
Goblins,
like
White Forest, Azamina.
unlike
And then I guess technically
unlike
Diabell.
the Albise plotline, which feels like it actually took over like multiple weeks to months in like actual narrative. This story just feels like it took like 2-3 days.
Like, yeah,
Even less.
we joked about it being like a video game, but like honestly, it does kind of feel like it has like you would sit down to play a video game where all of these events are interconnected, and that would be like it. Right? Like you would not necessarily need to
I'll
like
be
break
honest,
up the
it's easier to
soundplay.
follow than Albaz and whatever the fuck Thesis was.
Vsauce was very confusing. Albaz, I think, was mostly okay. It just had a lot of cards. Also, hey, next week we'll be doing our poll results, winning by just 1 vote. So feel free to keep feeding the votes. It's D and D, D.D, because we've already done DD and DDD. So all the different dimension boys and girls.
That's gonna be
Oh, no.
weird because you're to grab some like of the cards of being like, so this is the other version of this card.
Yeah, we'll do some comparison back and forth.
At
with
some
of the
point,
cards.
we need to do like the fucking digrapher plot line as a thing, and also
Yeah,
like
just
the,
figure out all the
plot line
graphs.
cards.
We do.
Yeah,
we
because
also at some
that's
point.
where,
I
that's
may
where,
make that
that's
a poll pick
where
next time.
DD Warrior Lady comes in and so
Albany.
on.
Yeah, because she's Warrior of the Wasteland. We did talk about her when we talked about whatchamacallit, warrior decks, just the warrior type decks. But yeah, we've been failing, we've been portraying. That's
Thanks for
it for
showing
now.
up.
We're gonna see you. Yeah, thanks for showing up. We'll see you guys later, and see you tomorrow for Final Fantasy XIV, where I'm gonna start the cosmic exploration stuff.
Hey.
And goodbye, everybody. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
Bye.